Out of the ashes of the old BTCC Super Touring Car Series, 2001 heralded the arrival of the new-look touring cars, much less expensive for the teams to build and run. Would the new championship, though, live up to its recognised reputation of providing the closest motor racing? The big stars were back in the frame, but would the driving get any better once they'd swapped the Dodgems for race cars? This is the story of the AA.com British Touring Car Championship of 2001. You can decide for yourself. So, the season finally got underway. With some of the teams delayed in completing their cars, it was a small grid that made the start for the first round on the Indy circuit at Brands Hatch. Yvan Muller started on pole, with James Thompson alongside him in the Egg Sport Vauxhall.
Lights are on, ready for a start. Revs are up, green, and they're away. That's the view from Bennett. That's James Thompson right ahead of us. And look, right in the middle there, that's Jackson Plato. Great start from Plato, really nuzzling up behind Muller. Muller has held on to it. Muller still in the lead. Plato and James Thompson side by side. Thompson on the right, Plato on the left, up into Druids for the first time. Jason Plato just nuzzling past James Thompson there. Thompson will have to be careful he doesn't get forced wide. That's Steve Soper in the first of the Peugeots, putting him under real pressure down into bottom bend. Neil, that's Matt Neal being turned sideways into bottom bend. That was the fourth of the Vauxhalls. Let's have another look.
And they're on board with Phil Bennett in his first touring car round, and a big bang on the right-hand side of his Vauxhall Astra.
Now he gets down into bottom bend and repays that favour. Matt Neal on the right-hand side. Absolutely shovel round, excuse me.
Well, what a way to start your career. Bang, there you see Matt Neal. He just slides into the side of Bennett, now down into bottom bend.
Think that was easy, Matt? Oh, really? Try this besides. That's what my Vauxhall tastes like. Thanks very much for the smoochy smooch with your Peugeot. Everybody else regroups. Back at the front, it's Muller, followed by Plato. There's James Thompson. Here comes Steve Soper. Unscheduled pit stop. This is a 10-minute screamer.
Yeah, right front wheel. The guys dived in with the air gun. Maybe Soper thought the front wheel was coming loose, but certainly lost time, lost position.
Well, here are our top three positions. Muller, Plato, and then just behind them, James Thompson. Vauxhall, Vauxhall, and Vauxhall.
It's such a battle between the four Vauxhalls. Remember, Plato and Muller in one team, Bennett and Thompson in the other.
Here's interesting. That's on board with Steve Soper. We're back out of the pits, and he is now dicing with our race leaders. Steve Soper makes new friends. That's Yvan Muller. Moving out to the left. Right behind him is Jason Plato. Hey, this isn't your race, Soper. He's actually come back out of the pits, but he's in the thick of it and loving it.
Yeah, and also it's giving him an opportunity just to see where the Vauxhalls are strong. Remember, the Peugeot, relatively underdeveloped compared to the Vauxhall, but there's the answer. They've just got more performance.
Yeah, no prisoners taken either there. A little bit of paint rubbing between Jason Plato and Soper. On the way past, he's in a really big hurry.
And look at that, Thompson. He thought he could have gone the long way around Steve Soper into Panicle Bend. Soper's really, well, let's call it showboating, but it's giving him a little bit of an insight and showing that the Peugeot really is going to be a car that will challenge Vauxhall later this year.
Listening to Plato at work. Now building up through the gears. On board with Muller now, and that's what he likes to see. Absolutely nothing in front of him except a checkered flag. Yvan Muller takes the first race win of the year. Second place, Jason Plato, and third, James Thompson.
In the first feature race, the touring cars were joined by the production cars, and for the first time, there was a rolling start. This time, Muller was joined by Jason Plato on the front of the grid.
Revs are up, well, the rolling's up, and they are off and away, and it is a great start by Yvan Muller, hanging onto it well. Plato alongside him. The next two Vauxhalls have to sort themselves out, and look, Bennett's ahead of James Thompson. Cracking stuff from him. Nice pass over the top of the hill, and we've got a spinner already. That's Annie Templeton, very high speed, neat reverse park in the gravel, no harm done. Down into bottom bend for the first time, deja vu. Muller first, Plato second, and then right behind them an absolute gaggle of production cars. Everyone puffs of smoke, just getting through there cleanly. Nice start from Bennett. On board with Steve Soper. There's the view ahead of us. The pair of dicing Vauxhalls of Bennett and Thompson. Soper lunging down the inside into Druids. There's the view back. There's the Vauxhall we've just slithered past. That's Bennett right behind us. Down into bottom bend. We've got to hang a left in a minute here, boys. What's going on? Bennett really pressuring. Oh, and a little bit of an understeer there. That's cost him time.
Yeah, I think because Super just slowed down momentarily in bottom bend, Bennett had to take a quick avoiding action to the right. That was what the correction was all about.
Wily old fox, Soper. Now there is Matt Neal challenging as well. Matt Neal just sliding up on the inside. Sliding up on the inside, nuzzling in and saying, hi, welcome to touring cars.
Well, it's the second time this afternoon we've seen, third time. First time this race, twice in their sprint race.
Well, there they are, Muller, Plato, Thompson, Soper. 3 seconds covers the first 4 so far. Now there's the view. We're looking ahead at Soper. He's ducked down the inside. Can he make it stick though? Side by side. Soper on the left. And he's running a little bit wide. Soper says you can try that sunshine, but I've been around the block once or twice. Now this is how it's done. Watch me flick back.
That's experienced Steve Soper. He saw Bennett coming through. He ducked back in, cut back, got the advantage, but Bennett just got the speed in a straight line.
He's still trying to hang with it though, but then decides to cut back. Big leap over the curb there, top of Paddock Hill Bend. Down up into Druids. He's got it all to do again. Now, this is exactly as we were a lap ago. What can he do? All over again.
Well, he's strong going into clearways. He's got an advantage in terms of grip and handling. He can try it again, but Soper is so clever and wily.
He is wily indeed. He stepped back and let him do it last time. Now, here we go. Let's try that again. Soper moves left. Then Bennett goes to the inside. But he's got it. He learned second time round. He's up the curb.
He didn't quite overrun into the corner the second time around. Checked his speed, kept the car in tight, and maintained the position.
Old dogs and new tricks spring to mind. Now, that's the gap back from our first 3 runners back to Bennett in 4th position. A full 10 seconds. Muller, Plato and Thompson. There's Plato there. James Thompson right behind him. They are the class of the field, the lead trio by a very big margin.
And that must be disappointing for Plato. He's got a battle on his hands with James Thompson, watching his teammate just disappear into the distance.
We're on board now with James Thompson coming down the pit straight. So Plato is going to be coming down the pit lane somewhere. Where is he? There is he! Right there, there's the red Vauxhall. Now he's come out in front of James Thompson. Fabulous stop for Plato. Thompson's really going to have to get his skates on if he's going to get past.
But also Plato on those cold front tires. We've seen Thompson be very edgy on that first corner, Paddock Hill Bend. Look at Plato. He's on tippy toes.
Maximum defensive line. Thompson's lunging down the inside. Now or never. Well, it isn't now because Plato says never. Shuts the door. Brave stuff from Plato with a cold set of front tyres. James Thompson's been out there for 2 or 3 laps. He's got his iron and his tyres are ready. And he's got to try to get past this guy now or it will not happen.
He's got about 1 lap to get the job done on Plato. If he doesn't, Plato will retain the lead.
Now look at the line. Jason Plato has run a defensive line, trying to hold him up. James Thompson very cleverly ran wide, gave himself a great big run. We're coming down into Paddock Hill Bend. Plato's around here somewhere. There he is. Just shuts the door. Now Thompson moves to the inside. Side by side up to Druids. This is the U-turn. Side by side. Door handle to door handle. Literally, Thompson slides through. Yvonne Muller now back into the pits. Obviously some big listen to it. Running very roughly.
Yeah, I think there's maybe 1 cylinder or maybe 2 cylinders not firing, and that is disaster. Muller, who destroyed the field in the sprint race, now looks like he's just been destroyed.
Not such a disappointed day for Jason Plato there because he's muscling his way down the inside of James Thompson. Thompson looked as though he might have outbraked himself a little bit there. Now we're on board with Plato. Thompson's got to be around here somewhere. He'll be out to the left. There we are, we're on board with Thompson. Well, where's Plato? They must be side by side because I can't see each other from each other's cars. They're still side by side. There you've got it. Plato on the right, Thompson on the left. Siamese Vauxhalls up into Druids corner. Still side by side. This can't work. Little flinch there from James Thompson's car. Obviously some contact. There's Plato on the right of us. We've got to turn left tight here. Is there room? Only just. That's as close as you like.
Well, that's virtually a lap side by side round Brands Hatch. But it all went wrong for Thompson in this segment of the circuit. Into clearways, he got a bit of a wobble into the right-hand part of clearways, and that gave Plato the... And look at Plato this time.
He heard your script, John Watson. It's exactly the same. There's what happened to James Thompson. Now we're on board with Jason Plato, and Thompson is just in front of us again. James Thompson just passing Gavin Piper in one of the lead contending production Alfa Romeos. James Kay, second position in the production class, right behind, well, not right behind anymore, that's Harrison off. The leader of the production class off, as was his wheel, after just over the top of Paddock Hill.
Scary moment for Simon Harrison. The left front wheel, there you see it rolling down the gravel trap. Came off just as he was entering the corner. Let's just see what it felt like for Simon. There it is, no control whatsoever. Just about comes to a rest before he solidly hits that tie barrier. Bad time.
There's our new production class leader, James Kay in the Honda. Very focusing moment for Simon, though. That safety barrier really coming up on your windscreen quickly. Just stopped the car in time. Down across the strike for the last time, James Thompson. Everyone runs up to the wall to congratulate him, and he's through. Thompson just holds off Plato. Great drive. And at the end of 50 laps, it was this close. Only half a second between Thompson and Plato. Phil Bennett, a podium in third. Lovely stuff. Soper, fourth position. Matt Neal, fifth. Eade, sixth. Great drive for James Kay, winning production. Moen in second place, followed by Jackson, Piper and Howell.
To bolster the sprint race grids, a new race format was introduced at Thruxton. The touring cars to go first, and then production cars start on an agreed delay. The tourers had to do one extra lap though. Complicated, but it would all prove to be very entertaining.
Off they go. Plato on the left. Ivan Muller, red car straight through the centre of the screen, gives Jason Plato a bit of a tap on the way past. Brilliant stuff from Muller, and he's through. On the right-hand side, you can see James Thompson. Left-hand side, you can see Jason Plato really pushing, but that was a blinding start from the second row of the grid for Ivan Muller. Meantime, brace yourself. Here comes the cavalry. It's the production. On board with Collard, right behind James Kay in the Honda. Screaming around Allard's corner for the first time. Up and over the rise like a swarm of angry bees down into the complex for the first time. Kay on the inside. He's making a move down the inside of Moen. What can he do? Well, this is a rough old ride, and there goes Boardman through. Down through Church for the first time. Screamingly fast, but what an amazing start there for Ivan Muller.
Well, quite simply, Ivan Muller found the sweet spot between the clutch and the throttle, and just slotted his Vauxhall between Plato and Thompson. No wheel spin, maximum drive, took the lead.
And look there, Jason Plato desperate to slot his Vauxhall between Ivan Muller and the lead as they come across the strike for the first time. Remember, these boys have got to unlap themselves. These are our race leaders. There is our race leader. That's Kate on the inside of Moen, and he's tagged him and turned him around across the street. It's not over yet. He's just climbing all over the front of it. Amazing stuff through the chicane. What on earth is that all about?
That's just animal, and I'll tell you what, it should be in a cage. Moen and Kate got involved, and Kate just drove that Peugeot further on the grass. Then he pays the penalty, rides the guard up in the air. Well, that's a photograph he'll have for his scrapbook in years to come, but one he'll not be very proud of.
Doesn't look like a race driver, looks more like a rutting deer. Meantime, Ferrier in one of the Alphas off already. Bad luck for him. Big smoke screen.
Yeah, it looks like an engine problem. Could be a radiator, but I think it's more dire than that.
Okay, this is the view back from Ivan Muller. We are staring down the barrel of the bonnet of Jason Plato, but not anymore. Plato's lunged down the inside, and he's through. Lovely switchback. There he is. Can Muller fight back? Muller's down the inside now. This is a right-hand corner. Left if you're looking backwards. Now down onto the back straight. We're on board with Plato, and he's through. Paul Jackson. They are good rally cars, apparently, the Focuses.
Scary moment again, out in the quickest part of the circuit. That's out at Church, sideways on the grass. Jackson comes back on track, but that certainly is an early morning wake-up call for him.
Jackson will have his eyes on springs. So's Ivan Muller by the looks of it. There's Church corner. Trying to scythe his way past Jason Plato. Plato hanging on to the lead. That was some pass.
It certainly was. Plato took his heart in his mouth. He dived down the inside as he came into Campbell. He got himself alongside Muller, and job done.
There they are, pushing each other very hard as they slide past the rolling remains of Kate's car. Plato still hanging on to the lead. Now Jason Plato, our race leader, is coming up on Collard in the Renault as he negotiates his way through. That's Howell in the forward focus, and Howell and Collard make contact going into the... and he's sliding through the infield. Broken front suspension, and he was taken out again.
Well, some might say that was justice, but certainly the contact going into the Campbell ended up in Seagrave. There, look at the Ford Focus. Let's not think about the Renault looks like, but front suspension is steering all over the place.
You are the two race leaders. Harrison is the race leader ahead of us in the Peugeot, and Jason Plato is the touring leader, and he is about to take the overall race lead with only about a handful of laps left. He's just slid through. Jason Plato now leads the race.
Yes, Harrison tried to hold him out going into Allard, but he was on the outside, the wrong part of Allard to be. Plato had the line and has taken the lead.
Yeah, well, he'll be well pleased with himself. Muffed the start maybe, but he's clawed it all back again. Last lap, working his way through the chicane. Yeah, let's just hit it once more for good measure. Everybody's buttoned off. Nice drive for Jason Plato. Moves up towards the wall to take the checkered flag. Are you happy with that? Are you what?
Well done, John. Well done, Gaz, everybody.
Yeah, well done, John, to you too.
Great race, well done.
Reckon you did a pretty good job of racing them all, son, but there's the confirmation. Plato and Muller in one team, Thompson and Bennett in the second. 4 Vauxhalls in the top 4. Good drive from Bennett. Great drive from Harrison and from Nick Beaumont as well. Right up there in P6 and second in class. So, Plato's first win of the season. But in the feature race, it was James Thompson who started from pole. The Peugeot team struggled with serious tyre problems on the fast and abrasive track. Ready? Off, pedal to the metal, and away he goes. Thompson is in a strong position. Muller goes with him. But Jason Plato looks down the inside in the second red and white Vauxhall, side by side over the crest of the hill. Remember, everybody started together, a whole gaggle of cars just pouring into the complex for the first time. There's Luby still in touch. All the production boys closing down as well. There's the rearward view. That's Thompson we're looking at. And that is Ivan Muller we're looking at. And that means that the race leader is Jason Plato. I don't know how he pulled that off, but now he's in front. Now we're on board with Dan Eves coming down into Church Corner in the touring Peugeot. Ahead of us is Soper, his teammate. There's the right-hander. Quick old part of the circuit. Rock and roll through there. Oh, no, not again. I don't believe this.
And this is even before we get to the first round of pit stops. So Super definitely heading straight to the pits. Here we see the view from Super's car. John B and Q just ahead of him. And that's the point the tyre goes down. Oh, no.
Tyre, that's it. Over. Well, you should call Daddy because he's going to say big.
Steve very unhappy. He had a big shunt 2 weeks ago, wrote the car off, and he's had 2 looks at the same accident this afternoon. He's out of it for the day, and he's suggesting his teammate should also come in. Ivan Muller, he's done a good in-lap. He must get stopped. Oh, a bit late in the brakes, Ivan. The guys had to jump back out of the way. And that's not going to help your in-out time and total. Good stop from the guys, 7.5 seconds. But overall, he maybe lost a second with that overshoot of the pits.
Now here's the key. Jason Plato. Muller is coming down the pit lane. Plato is coming down the pit straight. They're going to meet at the end of this Armco railing. This is going to determine who's in the lead, and it's pretty clear to see because there is Muller and there's Plato. Get on the gas, says Muller. Wait for me, says Plato. But it's as simple as that. Big margin.
Plato's up to speed. Muller's got to get up to speed. You can see Plato around Allard absolutely on the limit.
Yeah, but Muller will be delighted with this. That's, in touring car terms, a bit of a breather. Well, there have been no problems at all for this man, Ivan Muller, as he comes through the chicane for the last time. He was not the quickest man in qualifying. He did not take the pole position, but it has not mattered because he's coming up to the strike for the last time and to take that magical checkered flag. Jason Plato right behind him. Phil Bennett, great drive for him as well. And there's Jimmy T in 4th place. James Thompson, what a drive. Cool stuff. So check those results. Muller, Plato, Bennett and Thompson in 4th place. Good player out of luck on the day, James Thompson. And look at that, Caden Jackson, 2nd and 3rd in production and in the top 8. Fresh from his feature race victory in qualifying, Muller flew around the twisty Alton Park circuit, while Simon Harrison confirmed his position as the pace setter in the production class. Here's the front of the grid, and we are ready for a start. Big time, green lights away. Plato has not moved at all. Plato has stopped. Muller is away very, very cleanly indeed. Bit of bumping and boring right behind him. Muller clean. Luby up the inside of James Thompson. Kurt Luby in the Lexus moves up into 2nd position. Thompson 3rd. And off they come. Here comes the cavalry. Charge. It's the production boys. Harrison moves into the lead. On board now with Moen feeding through. Oh, and there goes Gavin Piper as well. Just slides through the inside of Roger Moen. Straight up into 2nd position. But look at that lead for Ivan Muller. Lexus now coming under some real pressure. Here's the view from Bennett. And we are watching James Thompson give Kurt Luby a real workout. Here's the drag up and over the hill. Plenty of mumbo in that Lexus.
It certainly is, and I believe that's going to be a lot quicker by the time we get to the next few races.
Let's see how it works under brakes, because James Thompson is lurking big time into the Knickerbrook chicane. Clubbing the curves. That's a short way through, Waddy.
Yeah, and that's a aggressive way to... This chicane has been improved, they say, but it still looks pretty rough and tough to me.
Now here's the Eve's eye view. How close do you like it?
Well, that's pretty close indeed. There'll be damage to the front bodywork of Eve's Peugeot, and watch out for overheating.
Now, in the production class, Gavin Piper in the lead. Right behind him, Roger Moen. Filtering through one after the other through Druid's corner. Now here's the view back from James Thompson's Vauxhall. And that's his teammate. Now Eve's just... I don't know what's going on here. Eve's bringing us under some real pressure. Jason Plato lurking there as well. And while this is all going on, he's trying to look forwards as well. And James Thompson has lost the place and he's tagged his teammate maybe. Big moment there. And Eve's there just trying to come back onto Phil Bennett's Vauxhall. Soper has really done well out of this. Jason Plato in the red and white Vauxhall challenging as they go into Lodge corner. He really did well out of that last shuffle.
Well, Steve Soper is certainly one of the most experienced touring car people in the world, and all that experience is helping Peugeot get to the front of this touring car field.
It didn't quite work there, did it? Those two Vauxhalls just sliding through. He's got plenty of experience, but I think he's a little bit short of horsepower.
I think there's a little bit more than horsepower that's short at the minute for the Peugeots. The Vauxhall's clearly the class of the field.
Steaming down towards Knickerbrook chicane now. This is looking pretty close. We've got a very sharp left-hander in a minute. Lunges down the inside. Contact. What do you mind? Roger Moen just literally shuffles him out of the way into the corner.
You can even hear Moen still on throttle when Piper's on the brakes, but the Peugeots had a problem in qualifying with their brake fade. So whether that was the case this time or just brain fade, we'll find out later.
There's our touring leader, Ivan Muller, working his way up through the production ranks. He's got to get a long way up further yet to get to the lead of this race outright. Now, downhill, Piper, Harrison to the left-hand side, trying to defend. Piper moves to the outside, see what he can do. Turn in. Whoa, excuse me. Slight rerun. Wrong guy, Gavin, wrong guy. It was Moen that knocked you off last lap, not Harrison. Meantime, of course, Ivan Muller is coming up through the hairpin. He's not going to catch these guys because they're on the back straight. Only one corner left, and it's still the same order. Roger Moen takes the race outright, and of course the production win in the process. Second is Gavin Piper, third Harrison, and then Kay in fourth position. And in the touring class, here's our winner. Muller made it look so easy. Well, I'll tell you, it ain't over till it's over. In a sensation, Simon Harrison has been promoted to race winner with James Kay in second place because both Roger Moen and Gavin Piper received 10-second penalties apiece for their shenanigans down in the Knickerbrook chicane. So, a late turn up for the books in the production class, but Ivan Muller was again on pole for the feature race. Was he about to start to run away with the championship? Ready for a start, they're rolling. Stand on the gas, it's gone green, and away they go. Plato on the right-hand side. Muller just moves in. James Thompson looking for a run down the inside to see if he can slide past. Coming down into Lodge corner. Can he do it? Late under brakes. Just squeezes through, but look, Tim Harvey in the black Alfa just sliding past Kurt Luby in the black Lexus, or is he? Side by side, up and over the strike. Who's got the horsepower? Coming into Old Hall corner. Luby doesn't want to yield, but Harvey's got him. Jason Plato was just wriggling his way through there. Now he's wriggling into the pits, washing off the speed. Very slow. Watches the pit lane speed limit.
And most importantly for Jason, he knows he's got to get a super pit stop. 7.1 seconds for Muller. Muller, of course, on his outlap. Those tires are still cool, coming up to temperature. Good job on the left. 6.4 seconds. This could put Plato back into the lead.
Woo, this will be close. Now Plato's in the pit lane. Muller's going to be around here somewhere. There he is. Lights ablaze. Muller coming down the track. Plato crawling down the pit lane. Now he's up to full speed, leaving the pit lane exit. Who's going to get out first? It's Plato. Plato on board, looking back. That's Muller. He's just done it.
Well, do you think this team works as a team? It is, but these two guys are fighting each other for the Drivers' Championship.
Now remember, Muller's put a lap in on those tyres. Jason Plato is on really cold tyres.
And it's going to tell when they come down to the Island Bend hairpin. It's late in the brakes, but with cold tyres, well, there's hot tyres on the right of the screen.
It's late under brakes indeed. Muller lunges down the outside, then the inside, and he's done the switchback and got it. That was nice stuff.
Great job from Muller. He used that one out lap to good effect. Jason couldn't do very much under brakes with those cold tyres, and he had to be careful not to take himself out at the same time.
Looks pretty cool, doesn't he? Little shrug of the shoulders. Au revoir, Jason. Harvey getting ahead of steam up down the inside in the Alfa Romeo. That's Eves in the Peugeot is around here somewhere, but we've taken the racing line on the exit, so that means we're through.
And Tim Harvey again diving right into the apex of the corner. Not the ideal line, but one way to get past and hold that position.
Now in car with Tom Boardman, and that's one of the focuses going off. That's Jackson. A bit of an impact there. Boardman is still being given a good talking to by Kate in the Honda. Tries another way round. Side by side through, and using the grass as well, side by side, rubbing panels over. Dear Leap, that's hairy stuff.
Yeah, it is. It's not a good place to get that close to a competitor because a car could shoot off to the right, hit the pit wall. But the job's been done, and Kate's got position.
Piper, this is the production car leader, and he's all on his own. I can't see the man in P2, he's so far away. But I tell you what, Kurt Luby can sure see Phil Bennett in the Vauxhall because he just got a hip and shoulder straight off the track. Nice demonstration that the handbrake is working very well in the Lexus. Plato, it looked as though he ran really... Oh, hang on, problem.
Yeah, looks like he's got an engine problem. And all of a sudden it's all over, I would say, for Jason Plato.
Jason, stay out and finish the race if you can.
Well, that's easy for you to stay. Doesn't look like it wants to stay out, Don.
No, it doesn't look like it's a particularly easy remainder of the race for Plato, and you can see almost his body language is saying, I don't care what you say in the pits, guys, I think it's over for me.
Tim, one of the Vauxhalls is dying death. Plato's in car is getting slow, so if you can just push a little bit, you might catch him.
And Phil Bennett in as well.
Well, I wonder was that partly due to the contact that took place with Luby a lap or two earlier? But certainly it's been an eventful race for Phil Bennett.
They're coming in one after the other. Bennett in, Plato in. Haven't seen much of this bloke this race. James Thompson up into second place after the retirement of Jason Plato, which I guess also means that Harvey's up into third.
It's been a strange race for Thompson, overshadowed very much by Muller and Plato, but he's gaining points, second place, and he'll go away thinking championships are not won just in wins, but an accumulation of points.
Great drive by Ivan Muller.
Yes, it's going to be a double this weekend for Ivan Muller, and this is going to put him comfortably into the lead of the Touring Car Championship.
Doesn't get much better than that. James Thompson comes over the line in second. On the right there in the red Alfa, Gavin Piper, the winner of the production class. Simon Harrison, third place in production. There's the confirmation. Muller first, Thompson second, Harvey in an Alfa in third. Then Gavin Piper in the production Alfa, fourth place outright. Luby, Howell, Harrison, and my hero, Tom Boardman, the scrap metal driver.
It was quite tough, especially until 10 laps to the end, because it was the traffic. Jason came back a bit behind me. I was starting to struggle a little bit with the brake. But for the rest, the car was just perfect. It's a Vauxhall.
Oh, fantastic. It feels like we won the FA Cup. We're the Southern Division team, Conference League, taking on the big boys, but we've made such a big step forward with the car this weekend, and the team, have worked late nights all week, and it's just fantastic, really.
Certainly is. Well, an important weekend too for the championship contenders if they were to stop the Frenchman sauntering off into the distance. Ivan Muller again was quickest in qualifying and looked confident, well in control of the championship battle. Lights go to red. Muller on the left-hand side of the screen, Plato on the right, green, and they're away. Cracking start there for Muller. Everyone else away cleanly. The first corner, Ivan Muller's got the jump. Jason Plato is right behind him. James Thompson just slotting in there. On board with Kurt Luby. And we've lost it into the first corner. The production boys haven't started yet. Very focusing moment. So these are chasing. This is our race leader at the moment. The production car driven by Simon Harrison is in the lead, and that's one of them off early. That's Alan taking a shortcut to the grass. Meantime, there's plenty of early lap enthusiasm back in the touring ranks. Ivan Muller coming under some real pressure from Jason Plato. A view back from Muller's car. That's as close as you want from Plato. Really bringing him under pressure as they go across the start-finish line.
Muller, of course, winner 2 times at Oldham Park a fortnight ago, and Jason Plato desperate to get back on terms and not lose the grasp of the championship.
Looks pretty relaxed.
Well, feels pretty relaxed in the car, out of the car, socially, wherever.
Well, James Thompson is hell-bent on giving him a bit of a wake-up call, I'm sure. They are as close as you like. Thompson's down the inside, side by side. This is going to be close. This is the run down to Abbey Corner. Side by side, they're in a real drag. Maybe Bennett had been too relaxed, but Thompson is right there with him. Oh, a bit of biff and barge there. Thompson takes to the grass. Bennett still holds the line. Moves to the inside to cover. Thompson cuts back. Now, what can he do on the switchback? Moves up the inside. Darts out of the way just in case that Bennett bloke pushes him onto the grass again. And look, Plato, is he through? He's finally done it. Taps Muller on the way past. He's tried that manoeuvre about 3 times in the last 3 laps, but he's just stuck his car inside of Muller's. And as they go back onto the pit straight, it's absolutely Jason Plato in the lead. Now, here's a replay.
Plato behind Muller. They come through Crowley. He now dives down the inside into Brooklands, takes the track, just pushes Muller out to the right, all the way to the edge of the track. Plato's in the lead, and Muller's relegated down to second.
Yeah, Jason Plato really just levering that tiny little gap open there, forcing it open, making enough room for himself. And there he is now, coming down the pit straight, headlights ablaze. Plato in the lead, Muller behind him. And James Thompson with his teammate behind him. James will be thinking natural order has now been restored. Roger Moen in production ranks, still the outright race leader, of course, in this sprint race. Simon Harrison in pursuit. Paul O'Neill, he's P3, of course. His car is jiggling around a little bit, hop, skip and jump as he moves down the back of the field. It doesn't look like a happy handling car, but it's way up in the order.
And it's basically the best race so far this season Paul O'Neill has had with this Peugeot.
Well, race order after lap 11, Moen Harrison with O'Neill a distant third. This is the race for the lead, though. Bit of a big lock up there for Moen. Moen's run wide, unbelievably. Locked it up, all over.
Front brakes locked up. We've seen Peugeot having a problem with their brakes on other circuits, but not at Silverstone. But Moen locked the front up. Harrison's through and in the lead.
Pretty clever trick that by Harrison. Must have put the hex on him. Now we're on board with Tom Boardman. He's a busy old boy at the wheel. Now, this isn't the racing line, so there have got to be cars around here somewhere. There are always cars around with Tom Boardman. There you go. It's the Tom Boardman, Rob Cullard show, and they are always highly entertaining. The pair of them, and Boardman has run wide, kicking up the gravel all over the place. Ride 'em, cowboy. Comfortable win for Simon Harrison. Well driven, opportunistic, saw a gap to get past his teammate and took it. Harrison, then Moen. That's the production ranks, and that is the outright race position as well. Jason Plato, touring car winner and third outright, then Muller right behind him, and James Thompson in P3. So Peugeot has filled the first 2 spots, production cars at that, then Vauxhall touring cars the next 4, followed by another 306 and a Ford Focus. When darkness arrived for the feature race, along came the rain. Yet another hazard that faced the drivers before the 30-lap battle around Silverstone's international circuit. There are green lights and off we are and away. We're on board with Dan Eves. This is the best way to view them all, trying to negotiate their way through the first corner, because you can just see a wall of headlights in front. Big right-hander here. The guys up in front can't see anything. So that's Soper. He's across. That looked like Thompson, I think he took out. Luby was on the right-hand side of the screen.
Luby just pushed me off. Luby pushes me off.
Oh, there's the verdict. He reckons Luby hit him, and then maybe he hit Thompson.
Well, all I could see was that Soper came down right through the pack, tagged Thompson, pushed him off. But of course, looking at the grid, Kurt Luby was directly behind Steve Soper on that grid.
Well, it'll all be to sort out later on. Now, meantime, slipping and sliding all over the place. There's Muller on the right-hand side of the screen and Plato on the left, and Plato's through. Great stuff from Jason Plato. Just muscled his way past, slipping and sliding under brakes, got through. Now we're coming down into Abbey Corner. What can you see?
Well, you can see nothing, but look, the rain is so heavy down at the lowest part of the circuit.
Very uncomfortable indeed, especially for the man in front. I suppose he gets some breathing space, but he's the one that's got to work out where the braking points are. Some of these guys in production are not working out where the braking points are, running terribly wide indeed. That looks like some sort of a science fiction movie, doesn't it? Bright light, nothing else you can see. Into the complex now. Plato first, Muller second, and a very wide line there from Phil Bennett in third. We can pick them up because Plato, for your interest, has a blue light in his windscreen. Then Muller has the red light in the left-hand side of his windscreen. And then a green one, as you can see, in Bennett's car. That's how we're telling it. That's how the pit guys have got to tell it. But it is not easy. And you could throw a blanket over them as they go across the strike for the first time.
And it is the first time for a lot of the drivers in this field, particularly in the production. They've never raced at night time before.
I reckon they won't do it again after this either. On board with Bennett. Ahead of us is Muller and Plato. Muller's looking down the inside, seeing if he can find a way past side by side. This is fast, and yes, he's got him. Nerves of steel. Or either that or he had his eyes shut, just slithered down the inside through Kopp's corner. Now that's actually interrupted Plato's momentum. Bennett has got momentum. Can he get past as well? Side by side over the crest of the hill. Plato's seen him off. Bennett's got to use a little bit of prudence here. Yeah, very gently feeding the power on, but taking shortcuts in the process. Okay, meantime in the production ranks, it's Roger Moen. Gavin Piper ahead of us. We're on board with James Kay, right on the bootlet of Piper. Now we're coming down into a very fast right-hander here, and if you're really crazy, you can pass here. Slip through, is he? Is he past? Runs wide. He's taken the racing line. Great pass there from Kay.
Yeah, brave move down the inside. Remember, very difficult going from the bright of the pit straight into the darkness of Kopp's corner. Hard to know where you are and get it correct.
Jason Plato has also got the tail lights of Van Muller in his eyes now that the Muller, it looks as though he's actually starting to build up quite a handy lead already. Early days yet, but he has got just a little bit of a buffer, and he's got clear track ahead of him. He's got to work his way around what's going on, but he has got clear track. Board with Tom Boardman and Rob Collard yet again, making friends, slithering and sliding in the wet. Getting ahead of steam up down the back straight. Collard ahead of us. This is the downhill part of the circuit. Abbey is at the bottom here. Very tight corner. He's having a lunge. Down through the gears. Big rev on that gear. Got his nose tucked in tight. Side by side. Oh, these two are fabulous. Oh, I like you too. Bang, bang, they go. Side by side and up and over the hill. Never fail to amuse. Lap 11 now. Muller, Plato, Luby and Eves, bearing in mind that James Thompson has all sorts of problems and Phil Bennett has already pitted. All of these lead tourers still have yet to do so. That's the gap, the red light to the blue light. The red light is Van Muller, the blue light is Jason Plato, and there ain't much in it.
And Muller and Plato are hanging on, I think, as long as possible before they make their mandatory stops, in the forlorn hope that the rain might stop and suddenly, by some miracle, the track might dry out and they may get an advantage by putting on a set of slicks, not just in the front, but all round. But they're dreaming.
Now Jason Plato is really on a lunge here. He's starting to close up starting to close up. He's gone straight up. That's Plato through the gravel and off Abbey corner, downhill. I don't know what's happened there. I don't know if he's just outbraked himself.
It looked just like a completely unforced error.
He's lucky he's still moving at least, but very unlike Plato. Let's have another look.
Come down into Abbey, but let's hear what actually happens. Well, that's a gearbox of neutrals in the sequential 6-speed gearbox.
Splashdown. Great news for Van Muller, I suppose, because he can now take it nice and easy. There he is. Well, if you could see the gap, it's dark, you can't, but if you could notice that there's nobody within miles of him. Plato was really pushing him hard. This has really played into his hands.
And I mean, Muller came out of Abbey corner, used only about 3/4 of the track, no pressure whatsoever, and just take it easy. He's going to come in for his pit stop, I suspect, very shortly, and he doesn't want to get too mixed up with some of the production cars.
Yeah, what he's got now, which is exactly what he needs, is time. He's got time to pick his way past these other back markers. He's got time to actually pick the right line, not take chances, because there was a big gap back behind Jason Plato to the third place man. Now that's out of his hair as well. So Van Muller cruising.
And it comes out of Luffield fairly wide. Yeah, he's going to come into the pits. So one lap later, we see Muller make his pit stop. Again, the entry to the pit lane. Look at the brakes glowing. Now that's the pit lane. He can still run at racing speeds here, but once he comes across the line, the white line, which is at the end, there you see it now, down to 40 k's per hour. His pit's once again the first pit in the lane.
engine, keep it running. It's not up.
No, there's a problem. The car's not gone up. There's something with the air jack. Surely something's gone wrong. The guys in the front of the car, they can't do anything. There's the air jack, man. He's trying to get it attached. He's looking at everybody and said, please help me. Turn the air on. Do something.
What an absolute nightmare. I suppose a nighttime race is the time for a nightmare. They still haven't got it up. Is it up now? At last, at last, at last. Meantime, Jason Plato has disappeared into the distance.
And I'm not surprised because we're over 30 seconds, 33, 34, 35.4 seconds.
Well, there you go. He had time on his hands. Once again, we put the mockers on him by telling him time to burn. And that happens. Unforeseen, one of those things, I guess. But now Jason Plato back in front. There's Ivan Muller now just coming over the crest of the hill after the pit lane. And we've seen already Jason Plato heading down. Now that's one of the Peugeots. That's Dan Eves off. Harrison's looking for a way through. And so is Kay looking for a way through. We saw Kay muscle past here before. Now he's going to have another go. Come on, you can do it. Nose in. Oh, that's it. Very delicately done. Excuse me, Simon. Sorry about that, son. Using all of the bulk of that great big fat Honda Accord to just lever this Peugeot out of position. That moves him up into P2 with Moen almost within grasp. Only a couple of more corners left into the complex now. 2 lefts and a right, if my calculations are correct. Stroking it home now. Phil Bennett, he'll be pleased as punch as well. Second position.
Very good drive and deal. Difficult conditions. Bennett's really shown he's got potential. He's not just got a bank balance to match.
And just to remind you, his teammate James Thompson is still circulating. We haven't seen anything of him after that early lap problem, but he's still in 4th position. But Jason Plato, his night, his weekend. Both races, 2 wins for him. And then Phil Bennett. Yabba dabba doo. He'll be beside himself. A 2nd place, his best race result so far. Ivan Muller, well, lucky to get away with a 3rd, really. Could have been so much worse, he'll be kicking himself. And this scrap is going right down to the wire in the production ranks, but Roger Moen is just going to hang on as he crosses the line with Dave Pinkney in the Alpha. Roger Moen takes out the production class. 2nd, Kay. Great race from him. And 3rd, Simon Harrison. Well, I have to say, if you'd shown me a results graphic like that a few minutes ago, I wouldn't have believed it possible. Muller 3rd place, Plato 1st, Bennett 2nd, and James Thompson in 4th. Owen and Kay also making it to the top 10.
I was just starting to catch Ivan and I made a bit of a mistake. I got a bit of a neutral, my error, and shot off. And I thought, I've got to stop. So I flat to spot my tyres, just hoping he made a mistake in the pits or something. So I don't know what happened, but it's a shame because we were, I was catching him. It could have been a good race, but I'll settle for that.
The BTCC made its first ever trip beyond the mainland, across the Irish Sea on the Emerald Isle at Mondello Park, a tight and twisty circuit that promised to continue the BTCC tradition, ultra-close racing. Ready for a start for the touring cars. Lights go to green and they're away cleanly. Muller on the left, Thompson on the right. Big light up of tyres there from James Thompson in the 2nd row. Argy-bargy between Muller and Plato. Muller on the left-hand side is through. Then it's Plato. Good move there by Phil Bennett. He's through. James Thompson follows him. Steve Sober runs a little bit wide. Up through turn 2. Just a look back into the Hewlett hairpin. Very physical there. Steve Sober getting quite a bit of a nudge there from James Thompson.
Yeah, he just leant on the right-hand door and Super found himself out on the dirty bit of the racetrack and, of course, lost position.
Plenty of slipping and sliding and tyre smoke there as well from Ivan Muller, the race leader in this opening lap. On board with James Thompson, that's his teammate Phil Bennett. Very close indeed, side by side. Straight over the crest of the hill now. Ready for the production boys, and they are away 45 seconds after the Tourers. Very clean start there. On board with Gareth Howell, his teammate, bumping and boring. Jackson ahead of us, and Graves absolutely swapping paint, giving each other a really hard time. Up through the hairpin, down through turn 2, now down the back straight for the first time. Very tight hairpin coming up here. That was a very, very physical start. Graves hanging on, but he's run a little bit wide. That's great news for Jackson. Side by side, this is a tight corner. Graves loses position.
It was always going to be tight with the production cars, but the Ford Focus has promised strong performances at Mondello Park. That's what we're seeing at the minute.
Strong indeed, but Jackson is sideways. He's moved sideways. Graves alongside. Contact! Graves is off. Howell is still running. So is Jackson. This is the view from Simon Harrison's car. Both of those Ford Focus are still ahead. Harrison right behind. Now that's Kay moving up a position as well. James Kay picks up. Now here's another look.
Yeah, you can see Jackson. He gets out of shape as he cuts across the track. Graves comes out all of his own, then gets slapped on the side across the grass, and not what he wanted.
Now this is on board with Dan Eaves back with the touring cars now. Ahead of us is Phil Bennett. Looking back from Bennett's car, there he is, Eaves. That's as close as you want. Side by side. Right-hander here, very, very close indeed. Now back again to Eaves. Eaves close. Back and forth. It's like watching butterflies mating.
Well, I tell you what, you can't get any closer than this. Mondello Park promos close racing. I've never seen touring cars like this.
Very nice paint job on Phil Bennett's Vauxhall. A couple of little dents. Once again, weaving backwards and forwards as Dan Eaves having a good race too.
But Roger Mohan's the man to watch. He had to start at the back of the grid because of an engine change.
Well, he's just had a bit of a nudge from somebody. Somebody doing a braille pass. That is Jackson giving him a real nerfing. There mustn't be much straight on Jackson's car. Second piece of contact already. And we're off. It's Mohan. He's Mohan. All over the grass, leaping all over the place. I think he's lost position. Fights back now. Holds it in tight. Can he? Yes, that's the racing exit line. So he's just fended off that attack. Back down the pit straight. Rough and tumble stuff, Waddy.
Well, I tell you what, I've never seen these production cars so aggressive. They're only on lap 2.
Everyone's going to be very tired. It's Howell, Kay and Piper, the top three. Muller is the leading touring car, still chasing this bunch because he's got to unlap himself. Very agricultural stuff, using all the curbs and more. Moving down the back straight. Now back at the touring end of things. Jason Plato still in hot pursuit there of his teammate Ivan Muller, but Muller is really looking the class of the field.
Muller's been looking the class really of the year. He's managed to somehow get a handle on Jason Plato, and nothing he can do can get him closer to Muller.
Well, he's having a quieter time than Gareth Howell. Howell coming under some real pressure from James Kay and the Honda. Very, very real pressure indeed. Howell's a busy boy in that yellow Ford Focus. James Kay really straight lining those corners, lines him up down the inside. That looked easy.
Yeah, he did a good pass. That's down at MG corner, and he's taken their lead.
Problems for Jason Plato.
Are you going to continue going round, yes?
Yeah, I'll continue going round. I mean, I can barely get round the corners, but...
Well, there's the word. They're going to make him keep limping around, Waddy, but he thinks he's got a suspension problem.
Yeah, it looks to me just like the tyre's gone down. You see rubber shredded off, but it's okay in right-hand corners. It's the left-handers that are the big problem. He's struggling to keep the car on track.
Well, problems for Jason Plato, but not for Ivan Muller. There he is, just getting past James Kay into the outright lead.
Do it, James. We're getting points right down here. Even if we're last, we still get points. We need those points. But change the tyre very slowly. Bring the car in.
No, it's not the tyre, it's the upright, front upright, or strut, or drive shaft, or something like that.
It's a puncture. We can see it's a puncture. Bring the car in slowly. It's a puncture.
Plato now pulling into the pits.
Not too much urgency to get the car jacked up.
Plenty of urgency here, though, as Steve Soper threads his way through the leading production cars. And, of course, Soper is now in P3 in the touring class, which is a great result for Peugeot so far, if he can hang it together.
It is a very good recovery. Remember, Soper got tagged in turn 1 on the first lap, fell to the tail of the field, but has driven well to get back up to third place.
There's the man at work. Gear changes, bang down through that box.
I tell you, his arm was going like a fiddler's elbow.
Last corner for Ivan Muller. He's onto the pit straight.
Okay, Van, the checkered flag's out. Well done, mate. Well done. Well done, guys. Good job.
Another day at work.
And a very easy-looking win for Ivan Muller.
James Kay. Nice position for him. Easy win for him in production. Maybe not as easy as Muller, but it went very well for him. James Thompson, second in the touring class. That's Jason Plato just limping home. Great result for Steve Soper in the Peugeot P3, a podium position. And there's the proof. 4th outright and 3rd in the touring class. James Kay 2nd outright, and of course in doing so wins the production class, with Howell and Moen in 2nd and 3rd in that class respectively. Well, this venue lived up to expectations, but the high curbs certainly took a toll on the tyres. The question, though, was could Jason Plato make up for the lost points in the 30-lap feature race? Muller is the pole man. He sets the pace, waiting for a green light. Now and they're away. Everyone away cleanly because it's a rolling start. Both the Works Peugeots start to the left. Simon Harrison in the red. Production Peugeot way over up the pit lane. In through the hairpin for the first time. That's the view from Thompson's car. That's Bennett ahead of us. There's Muller and Plato. Plato has a bit of a rub there. More than a bit of a rub with Phil Bennett. Now we're on board with Thompson. This is a wing mirror cam. How close is it? I wouldn't want to watch his parking. Thompson banging wing mirrors on the side of Plato's car. Side by side they go. There's not room for the pair of them, and he gets a little bit of a rub down by Jason Plato, who takes the racing line. That's cost James Thompson time. Thompson's fallen back. Now there's Kurt Luby on board with Bennett, and he hits him, pushes him wide. Luby's off, Bennett's around. Well, no one's hit anything, but that was very costly for Kurt Luby. Now here's another look.
Luby drives down the inside of Bennett. Bennett gets sideways, but he does the right thing. He just floors the throttle.
Jason Plato in 2nd place. We're looking back at his old sparring partner, James Thompson, and they are having a great old ding-dong.
Just remember what happened in race 1, those curbs, you got to use them, but not abuse them.
I don't think he can hear you, Waddy.
And that's the very corner of the exit of paddock.
Okay, this is the Dunlop hairpin. James Thompson looks down the inside. Jason Plato says, not on your life, sunshine. Slams the door shut. That has cost James Thompson a little bit of time as they get on the gas down the pit straight again.
But in the early laps of the feature race, Thompson appears to have more speed than Plato, but getting past here will be difficult.
Jackson is challenging for the lead in production. He's got past Graves. They've touched, and he's off. That squares everything for race 1.
Let's look again and see Jackson on the left, Graves on the right. Jackson starts to come across a little bit. Graves keeps his line. Contact, left front guard, right rear guard. Jackson goes off right, the track goes left.
James Thompson, relentless. In through paddock, behind the pits, using all those curbs again.
Yes, that curb is so violent. Get it wrong, you'll have a problem with your tyre.
Well, I guess these guys are banking on the fact they do have to make a pit stop. Remember, the touring cars, not the production cars, which Simon Harrison is driving, have to do that. Now, look ahead of us. Shenanigans aplenty. That's Graves and Gavin Piper. Gavin Piper got a bit of a tank slapper. Whoa, what was that all about? Straight into the side of him.
I think it's a lack of peripheral vision. Graves coming up on the left-hand side. Piper sort of shimmying around in the track. Then Piper comes across to the left as if Graves isn't there. Slams into the right-hand side of the Honda, spins himself round, and does a lot of damage to the Honda.
The insurance claim will be an interesting read. James Kay in the thick of things as well with Simon Harrison. They've had some great sport this year. Simon Harrison in the orange Peugeot. Great James Kay right behind him in the silver Honda. Moves down the inside. Makes that look pretty easy. Harrison runs a little bit wide, and Kay takes him down the pit straight. Howell follows, and Roger Moen now side by side with Harrison.
Well, Harrison just left the door open to James Kay, and of course that allowed then Howell to get through, and now Roger Moen, teammate to Harrison.
Poor old Simon Harrison will be losing count. As they all slip past him, he's carrying some pretty heavy success ballast this weekend, which won't be helping.
In these cars, that level of ballast, 57 kilograms, is a big, big load.
Well, this bloke's got a lot of success ballast as well, but he's also got a lot of air behind him. That's Van Muller. There's Jason Plato, and behind him, with a little bit of breathing space now, was James Thompson on board with Phil Bennett. Well, that's one way to get past. Excuse me. And Dan Eves is off.
And a big off. That was a heavy, heavy hit on the left rear of the Peugeot, and suddenly Dan Eves is going to go into the pits. Well, I think he missed the pit lane entrance this time, but look at the damage to the rear of that car. Exhaust pipe hanging off, bodywork, fiberglass. It's ready for the wreckers yard.
And there's the front of Phil Bennett's car. Well, I suppose he got past. On board now with Jason Plato. Now we're coming up into paddock corner. Pit lane entrance is next. Must be now.
Well, he's tried very hard to make up as much time on the lap without the pressure of Thompson behind. Remember, Jason, 40 k's, you can see his eyes looking down, checking the speed all the time, staying out in the pit lane on the tarmac, none onto the concrete. And this is going to be the battle for position. He's got to get out ahead of James Thompson, because if he doesn't, he'll never get past Thompson on the track. Identical time, 7.1 seconds. Great job by the Vauxhall team.
Okay, now where's Thompson? What could he do on that lap? Here comes Thompson. There goes Plato on board with Thompson. There's Plato. We're going to pass him for sure. Yes, down into the hairpin. Thompson slides past. Jason Plato really pushed on his in-lap, but James Thompson must have been even harder on his out-lap.
And Plato will be bitterly disappointed to have lost place because of the pit stops. He thought he'd done enough, but obviously not.
James Thompson, meantime, and Jason Plato, the battle is on. Remember, Thompson got out ahead after the pit stops. That's Plato, and he looks very, very hungry. Lunging, very attacking-looking pose on the front of that Vauxhall, looking back from James Thompson's car. This is a race. The fight is on. Two men, same cars.
Well, they're like a pair of ferrets having a squabble in a sack.
Plato looking down the inside, seeing if he can get past there. Thompson just moves in and closes it. This is real pressure. Now James has got to keep cool, try to keep it on the black stuff. And Jason Plato, in a funny sort of way, will be enjoying this.
Well, this is real motor racing. Believe me, you don't get motor racing much better than that. These two guys, 100% committed, fighting for position.
Well, this is the real fight. They've both come out of the hairpin together down the pit straight. They're side by side now. It looked as though Plato got out of there pretty well. Thompson got the lead on him, but Plato's got the line. There's a very tight hairpin here, and he's through, is he? Thompson doesn't give up, hangs on, but no, gets pushed wide. Great stuff.
Well, these are identical cars. It's just down to the individual driver's choice of setup. Of course, also, look at the difference in lines as they came through turn 2.
On board now with Paul O'Neill. Now, there's Howler ahead of us. Problems as well there for Simon Harrison. He's all over the place. I think we might be through past Howell. I'm really lining up Simon Harrison. Yes, we are. We've picked up a position. Now we're up into P3 on board with Paul O'Neill. This is great stuff from the newcomer. Coming up to the hairpin before the pit straight. Puff of smoke. Harrison locks him up. Are we through? Yes, indeed. Fabulous stuff. Paul O'Neill rises up through the ranks into second place. There's Howell. Now, can he make it stick? He's under real pressure, but good stuff.
Well, that's the best race I've seen O'Neill drive all year, and boy, has he improved. Harrison's suffering from a car that appears to have a sort of erratic grip at the back. Has it 1 minute, the next minute it ain't there.
Well, you better hang on, Paul. It ain't over yet, sunshine. Two of these boys climbing all over you. Ivan Muller now coming up on the back of Blair in the Alpha, getting ready for the checkered flag. Good day at the office. Headlights ablaze as well for Jason Plato, just coming down to take the checkered flag as well. Nice drive, P2. And James Thompson. Good scrap, highly entertaining. Thanks for that, mate. Nice dice between you and Jason Plato. And a podium P3 for James.
And the very enthusiastic marshals enjoying the first trip from the touring cars to Mandello Park. And this man, James Kay, who has raced here before, one of the few, takes his win in the production class.
Made it look easy. Have to remember Graves as well, although his car didn't stand the distance. With all the collisions it had, a very strong showing from him as well. Now, second position for this man, you'd have to say, well done, son.
Absolutely great drive from Paul O'Neill. He's shown form, shown speed, but not consistency. Today he put all those elements together.
There's your confirmation. Muller, Plato, Thompson and Bennett. 4 Vauxhalls in the top 4. Then Kay, 5th outright, and of course winning the production, and Jackson in there in 3rd position.
Stay out there and use your tyres well, that's what I got told, and I messed about for a bit, and then I thought, why isn't Harrison going away? I thought it was a problem, and Jackson, I seen Jackson closing, so I waved him through so he could use him as the hairlight. And then all of a sudden I was on him and I passed them both. I couldn't believe it. Marv said, keep your head down. I was like, and then they went and P2. This is a joke.
Muller is just starting to pull ahead now in the points table. But don't expect Jason to go away and sulk. He'll go away, think about it, and come back even harder. Back to the mainland, and Donington Park saw the debut of one man accustomed to winning here using only 2 wheels. New Zealand Superbike champion Aaron Slight. Now, before the race, he took us around the track just to show us the difference an extra 2 wheels make.
Here's a lap at Donington. This is qualifying. This is coming onto the front straight. Down here on the bike and the car, probably using the same gears. The bike's probably got a bit of a slide at that last corner. Braking the bike about now. and in the car about now. Early entry on a bike, a lot earlier than that. And then coming out of here, you've got to watch that the back wheel's not spinning on the bike, because the bike likes to spin down the hill. So you're not full throttle, just drifting it all the way down here, but the car's flat on the floor. And through here, you've got to be really careful, because it's one of the first left-handers for a bike. Then you go through the old hairpin, feels pretty similar to speed. Up here, you're flat on the bike and in the car. Big bumps upsetting the car, and they do upset the bike as well. This corner here on a bike, it's hard braking. You've got to turn in a lot deeper than that, and you run over some bumps there. There's always bumps that upsets the front on the bike. The car seems to just absorb those. Here, turning in on the curb, same sort of line there, but on the exit the bike's a lot tighter, and the bike's squirming all the way out of here, sliding and bucking and weaving, and then as you pick the bike up, it's still doing a bit of a tank slapper down here. You've just got the tank slapper under control when you go over the Dunlop Bridge and you're doing a wheelie. So put the front wheel down, hard on the brakes, turning in sort of, you know, about the middle of the road there, because you've got to miss both curbs. Out of here, the bike's wheel spinning again, and bucking and weaving up here over the top. Jump on the brakes about now, the car's probably about now. On the bike I've already turned in, I'm already trying to hit the apex. Out of here, both car and bike wheel spinning a lot, because it's uphill gradient in first gear. The car once again, very late apex here. With the bike I'm probably starting to go towards the corner about now. And I've already touched the curb. So a lot different on the entry really, car to bike. The bike is it goes to the apex a lot quicker.
James Thompson on the left-hand side of the screen, known as a great starter there. Steve Soper, ready for action. Aaron Slight concentrating. Plato. Revs are up, you can hear it, you can see it. Lights are green and they're off. Muller away pretty sharply, but James Thompson as well. Thompson on the left, Muller on the right. Jason Plato in the second of those Revs Vauxhalls, trying to find a way through. In on the first time around, Phil Bennett giving Ivan Muller just a little bit of a tap there through Redgate. And I think Bennett might be through there, side by side. Plato a good start, side by side there for Bennett and Muller. Down through the crane of curves. Still hanging on, Bennett is not going to give up, and he's through. Tough stuff. Meanwhile, just in the top of your screen, you can see the production boys have kicked off. 30 seconds later than the touring cars, but they've only got 15 laps to do. Now Phil Bennett has really got his hands full. That's Ivan Muller and Jason Plato, both pressuring him coming up into McLean's. He's one out and one back, hung out to dry there, and turned around as well. Lost two positions, that was contact with Soper. Nice save.
Phil Bennett, having served his apprenticeship in the first half of the year, wants to get muscular with his teammates. And Steve Soper taught him another lesson. There it is. Vauxhall Peugeot contact. Round the Vauxhall goes. Look at the damage to the front of the Peugeot.
Skipping through the S's, taking the shortcut across the dirt. Steve Soper, Dan Eaves, very big shortcut there by Kurt Luby. And Slight moves up the inside. You might take the shortcut, but he's washed off a little speed in this process. Coming down into the Melbourne Loop. There's Luby in the black Lexus. Slight now on the outside of him. Can he do the switch back? Phil Bennett right behind him. Luby running a bit wide and loose again.
Well, that's because the Lexus is the only rear-wheel drive car amongst these touring cars. And of course, too much right foot will see the back end swing out.
Well, the front of it is just lunged right past Slight on the inside. But I think Luby ran a little bit deep in the process. Slight getting the position back again, and there is Luby right in front of us. We're on board with Phil Bennett. Three of these cars just jammed together. Coming down into Redgate corner now. Slight in the middle, Luby on the left, Bennett on the right. Bennett tries to cut back behind Slight. Slight says, not in your life, sunshine. I might be new here, but I ain't giving you any space.
Well, he got absolutely sideways as he came out of Redgate, but remember, Aaron Slight's raced here in motorbikes. He knows this place, and he's a real racer.
And there's tons of stuff around to protect him, so he can feel very, very, very aggressive indeed as we have a road. You almost expect to see Slight putting his knee out going down round through the old hairpin. Side by side, up over the top of Coppers. No, you're not seeing double. That's Soper and Eaves. Fabulous shots, so close together, down the back straight. Kicking up dust, meanwhile, back in the distance is Aaron Slight, still in that great three-way tussle. Now, who's going to give way here? Soper on the right, Eaves on the left. Soper cuts through. Eaves takes a slightly different line, see if he can switch back. Having a good race. Meantime, more teammates at play. That's Muller and Plato's tagged him. If Van Muller just gets hooked on the rear bumper, Plato through.
Well, Plato was just so late in the brakes, he had to dink out. Look, watch here. There's Plato's car, comes out, he's having trouble slowing down. He locks up eventually, whack into the back of Muller's car, and there, the bumper. Anybody want a cheap bumper for the back of the Vauxhall Astra Coupe? It's up at Donington Park, and it's free.
Up in second place. Oh, who said they're easy on cars? That's what it looks like on the inside when they club those curbs.
Yeah, very hard at that chicane end of the straight, making his way down to Melbourne Hairpin.
There is the Melbourne hairpin. There is Van Muller trying to make amends. He lost the spot there to Jason Plato. We're looking back from Plato's car. That's Muller. That's where he lost the position to his teammate a couple of laps ago. There's a big left-hander coming now. And he lunges down the inside, side by side, gets it through, does he? Yes, he makes it stick. Very physical stuff. Great pass.
But the championship leader, Muller, certainly wants to win this race this afternoon.
Little wave there from Jason Plato. Hi, about, I suppose we're square now. And I guess they are indeed. What do you mean I cut corners? Never left the track at all, says Van Muller as he hauls one of the corner markers around on the front of his car. I'll tell you what, this scrap is not over yet. It's raining Vauxhalls. No one moves wide. Leaves enough room. Gentlemanly stuff. So it's Thompson from Muller. No one there behind them. Then Jason Plato right behind him. Down into Redgate corner. A big feint down the inside there from Muller. He's desperate to get that spot. Can he do it?
Well, he's been given an opportunity because of the safety car. Thompson's lead vanished. Now Muller back on the rear wing of the Vauxhall.
Sounds fabulous, doesn't it? Down the back straight, quickest part. Get out of my way, maybe?
Well, I'm not quite sure what that signal was, unless they've got a little private code, but look at that.
Private code for excuse. Well, that's not private, that's a very public code by Jason Plato, who just clubs his way past Van Muller.
That was a very forceful pass, right down, tight on the left-hand side. How he found room and didn't have heavy contact, I'm surprised.
Well, there was the result. Really cost him some momentum too.
I think Muller maybe have a brake problem because he would not ordinarily have given up that position so easily.
Well, neither of them have given any quarter in this race with each other. It's been great to watch, but look how far James Thompson once again has already started to open up a gap. We're on board with Jason Plato and a big lunge, and I don't know if that was a lunge or a lack of brakes. Geronimo charging down the hill of Van Muller. That was close.
I think he saw this is my last opportunity, but Plato watched that in the mirror, kept out of Muller's way.
James Thompson makes it look easy, not a mark on his car. Nice drive all the way through, down towards and takes the checkered flag. Thompson lights ablaze.
And he'll be delighted. That's his first win since the opening round at Brands Hatch early this year.
Phil Bennett should be pretty pleased as well. Good recovery drive. Dan Eves crossing the line. Soper and Aaron Slight. Nice stuff there. Roger Moen wins the production ranks. Piper second. And Jackson, race-long dice they had, in third position. And there's your confirmation. Nice stuff from James Thompson. Made it look easy. Dan Eves, Soper, Aaron Slight and Roger Moen also making it into the top 8.
Thank you.
James, well done. First of all, how are the brakes feeling?
Yeah, pretty tired by now, but yeah, the car was fabulous to be honest. The only spanner in our works was when the pace car came out and closed my gap.
Tell me what you were thinking then when that...
Well, I was thinking, please don't come out. But yeah, because obviously it worked quite hard to build that gap, and was a little mindful of tyres and brakes, and thought I'd just try and hold that gap to the end of the race, and then obviously the pace car closed it up, and then it was all to play for.
Certainly still more to play for in the feature race. Coming up to nearly halfway in the championship, it was important that the Export driver could repeat his form in the feature race to keep the pressure on the two Works Vauxhall team drivers.
Red lights are on. Jump, go! And I think James Thompson actually got a touch from behind. Thompson on the left-hand side of your screen. Plato alongside him. Muller. A lot of jostling early on. Steve Soper muscling down the inside as well. Here's the Bennett's eye view. A little bit of kissy face rub down. Oh, excuse me. Bit of a leverage pass there as well. Muller just pushes his way straight in front of us. Good start there for Steve Soper up into fourth place, side by side again. Thompson and Plato, very, very gutsy stuff. Lap one, puff of smoke from Muller, very busy. All the production gaggled through cleanly.
Muller clearly anxious not to let James Thompson run away with this 30-lap feature race. And he wants to keep his championship lead well intact.
Up into McLean's, stand on the gas, one more hill to climb. Bit of curb hopping there from Harrison, up over Copper's Corner. Bennett having a look down the inside. Does he get through Soper? He runs Soper a little bit wide in the process. Slides through, so is Dan Eves, the pair of them. He really lost out there. Down across the strike for the first time. Muller on the left-hand side. Plato's very in touch.
Yes, but also remember, this is the same as we saw in the sprint race, but Thompson just drove away the two factory boxes.
And James Thompson, he's lost position. Plato as he threw side by side into McLean's. Yep, that's the race lead.
That manoeuvre began in the old hairpin. Plato got the momentum, and up into McLean's took the lead.
Very, very close though, and this is going to be the end of the jigsaw once we see Plato stop.
Yes, the race leader finally into the pits. He's got to beat a 6.4 for Muller, a 6.5 for Thompson. Pressure now on Vauxhall to keep Plato in the lead of this race. Brings the car in, stops right on the dime. Wheels off, smooth operation, strips her off. Air jack removed, car down. 6.5 seconds for Plato. And there, Phil Bennett, his teammate, 7 seconds for Bennett. Oh, and he almost takes out Plato's team.
Now this is going to be busy. What happened? It is Plato. Plato first, then James Thompson, then Ivan Muller. It worked.
It worked perfectly, and Phil Bennett back into contention in fourth place as well.
Quick look in the rear vision mirror. What's going on? That's Jason Plato making sure that everything's under control. He's got cold tyres though.
And look at the concentration. He knows they're cold. He knows he's in the lead. Looks in the mirror. Oh, I've got through the first 3 or 4 corners. I'm okay.
Let's just hold our breath a little bit longer as Jason Plato feeds his way up through the fast-flowing left-hander up into McLean's corner. Just cocks a rear wheel. James Thompson is in touch, and so is Ivan Muller. Looked like they were closing a little bit to me. Aaron Slight, he's doing very well.
Slight's impressed me enormously. To jump into a car which these two guys have been driving all season and run at their pace is great. And you know, if Aaron Slight wants to make a career in touring car racing, I'm sure there are teams with contracts ready for his signature.
Now, Dan Eves in first of the Peugeots to stop. That means that Slight's our race leader as well.
Well, he'll be pleased with that, but Dan Eves makes his way down the pit lane there. The Peugeot team waiting for that 406 Coupe to come to a standstill. Race leader Aaron Slight.
Great stuff. Remember, he hasn't had his pit stop yet, but he is leading on the road. Of that, there is no doubt. Oh no, Phil Bennett.
Well, they're usually very reliable. Vauxhall let Bennett down this afternoon.
Race restart. Slide across the line first. Soper behind. Then it's Jason Plato. Then James Thompson a bit further back. And Ivan Muller. Rolling restart. Neither of those Peugeots are pitted yet, so theoretically the boys chasing him in the Vauxhalls are on fresher rubber.
Yes, they are, but of course we've seen in the past, having fresh rubber does not always mean you're going to get past very easily.
Aaron Slight, race leader, in car with him, down through the old hairpin. Whoa, major moment there. That's a real tank slapper, sideways stuff.
Well, he's had a few of those in his motorcycle days as well. At least in 4 wheels, you've got some chance of recovery.
Well, very spirited driver, plenty of colour and movement. Plenty of colour and movement down the field as well. Look at those Vauxhalls just shuffling between themselves. Jason Plato still holding out James Thompson, and Ivan Muller quite keen, I'd say, to slide past. Now, back at the front, Aaron Slight, I'll tell you what, the posse has really caught up. He's being climbed all over. And the Vauxhalls are trying to sort themselves out as well. Plato in the middle. Thompson on the right, side by side. Ivan Muller decides to engine as well. That's really opportunistic and clever stuff. He's through.
He read that move all the way up into Copper's Corner. Thompson and Plato. Thompson in the wrong part of track. Muller, a great pass.
Look at Dan Eves there as well. He's been taking jumping beams, darting from side to side, trying to get his way past James Thompson. Very much in touch, having a great race. Down into Redgate again. Slight must be having a ball.
Well, he's having a ball, but look at the two Vauxhall drivers.
They're having a dance of their own. Oh, bang! Excuse me. James Thompson says, I'll have a piece of that as well. Muller slides through side by side with Plato. Let's have another look at this.
Well, I mean,
incredible.
look at the slide way out to the left. Plato dives on the inside. I can't believe the cut that Slide made, and bang! That's Thompson into Plato's right-hand side.
He's a cool dude, Slide, isn't he? I'm letting you past. Not.
Well, motorcyclists, car racers don't always take the same lines, but Slide still got the lead.
Yeah, indeed, but Van Muller is finally going to get through, is he? Yep, being puff of smoke, and he slides through. Aaron Slide showing that he's not going to bother about new manners because he's the new boy. He's racing with the best of them. And he's still got plenty of them around him. Plato to the left of him, Thompson to the right. Slide turns in anyway. I think there was a bit of contact there. Slide got turned around. And a big rub down on the way past. You want to play? Here's how we play. You were right.
Yeah, we saw a problem coming down that pit lane, but Aaron Slide's day is over. But certainly, what an impressive debut.
Yeah, thank you for the entertainment. Great drive. On board with Plato. That's Van Muller ahead of us. The old protagonist, a little bit of a headbutt there from Jason Plato, and he's muscled through. Has he left more contact? Muller says, you've got to be kidding, Sunshine. You're not getting through that easily.
Well, if anybody thought this is showboating, forget it. This is real, gloves off, wheel-to-wheel motor racing.
And it's working to James Thompson's favour as well. We saw him fade to the left, fade to the right. Yeah, I think he can actually spell the back of Jason Plato's Vauxhall from here. Van Muller burying his nose in the boot. Now James Thompson, how close do you like it? Bear in mind we're doing north of 100 miles an hour down here, and James Thompson has just slithered past down the crane of curves. Muller fights back through the old hairpin side by side. That's not in the script. You can't do that. Still side by side. Up the hill. Muller's not giving up. Neither's Jimmy T. We've got a right-hander coming up very soon. It's McLean's. Is Muller in tight enough to get it? Yes, he is, but not without a fight from James Thompson. Fabulous stuff.
Real motor racing, but Plato, look, he's got about half a second of an advantage, and he's got that clear air to boot.
James Thompson, he is running strongly as well, and that dice that he's having with Muller won't die. This dice between Moen and Jackson won't die either. Very evenly matched cars.
And we've seen such strong performances from Peugeot this year. At last, we're seeing the Focus do a blinding job.
No, not only a blinding job, he's just done a blinder straight up into McLean, slid through. Great pass. Jason Plato's car, the side of it there, testimony to how close this racing has been. Close enough, though, for Jason Plato to take the win. James Thompson so close behind, and Van Muller so close again in third. After a long race like that, with pit stops and all, they're still together. Nice drive there for Dan Eves, too. Now, is he going to do it? First win for Ford Focus. He's only got one more corner. Come on, Matt Jackson, you can do it, Sunshine. Yep, you can push it home from here. Great win, flash the lights. They will be delighted in that team. Works so hard for it. Roger Moen in second place. Now, what an eventful race that was. Jason Plato taking it out just. James Thompson, second position. Now, Soper, Matt Jackson, Roger Moen. Amazingly, Simon Graves actually staggered home for a third. Halfway point in the season, up to the beautiful Scottish Highlands. Now, was there going to be any time to take in the splendid scenery or enjoy that wonderful hospitality? Tourists start on the lights. Green, off they go. Muller on the right. Great start. I think he might have just hauled in front of Plato as he's side by side down the hill. Soper darting around in the back of the field, and yeah, Muller is through. Past Plato. Thompson right behind. Then Bennett. Down through Duffus for the first time, getting ready for McIntyre's. Clubbing over those curves. Great start for Muller.
Well, Muller certainly did a very good job on the start. Plato lost that pole position, and losing that around Knock Hill is a huge disadvantage.
Jason Plato sideways, trying to get past Van Muller. Really committed under brakes. I thought he had that there for a minute.
He got a good run into Duffus, but Muller was just enough in front.
Are there any questions? Jason Plato has to regroup. Let's try that again. Up and over the chicane. Leap bounce. Still a couple of those left. And look at a Van Muller sideways stuff. Absolutely beautiful to watch. Torvill and Dean would be jealous. But I think it's cost him the place. Yeah, Plato through.
Plato saw it. He had the advantage. He had the momentum. He got the lead.
Brilliant stuff. It was a hot save there from Van Muller. That was awesome stuff. But I guess just too much speed?
Too much speed. Again, the rear tyre's cool. But watch James Thompson. He's watching all this, trying to get into the action.
I'll have a bit of that, he says. Banging panels side by side. Now, Steve Soper is giving Phil Bennett an absolute workout. Over Clark. Down the back straight. Bennett trying to recover there. Weaving a little bit to cover the line. Soper's really got a run on him. Coming down into the hairpin bend. Now he moves to cover onto the left-hand side. Soper's taking a wide line. Cuts back. Bennett stands on the gas. Up the hill. Bang! Contact! And they have both of. What was that all about?
Well, very simply, Bennett was trying to defend not just into the corner, but out of the corner.
Lost it, Vic. Bonkers.
Well, that was Ian Harrison from Vauxhall in no uncertain terms telling Vic Lee from the Peugeot team, your guy's fault. What do you reckon, Watty?
Well, first of all, I think if the camera hadn't been there, he'd have been a little bit stronger in his comment. But watch, Bennett out on the left. Super gets to run up the inside. Bennett then cuts across to stop Super. Super, of course, on full power and accelerating quicker than Bennett.
And it's as close as you like between these three. That's James Kay, Graves right behind him, Simon Graves, and then Harrison trying to find a way around through the hairpin. Graves tries to get a toe up the hill from his teammate. Interesting comparison horsepower there with Harrison. He seems to have plenty of squirt in that Peugeot.
Again, it's all about traction as well as squirt. But again, the toe down the straight, not enough to bring the Peugeot to the back of those two Hondas.
Well, here's more colour and movement. It's Edwards, Collard and Boardman. Wouldn't you know it? Three of them just banging into each other like castanets up the hill. Boardman in the toe now. Followed by O'Neill over the crest of the hill. Here's the battle again. The Clio in front. Now Tom Boardman, more pink problems, lunges to the inside, can he get through? Tough pass, a little bit of a tap, that's gutsy stuff.
Yeah, that was a brave pass, he went down the inside late in the brakes, kept it under control, good move Tom.
Now Collard and Boardman, we've seen them play many times before, let's hope they stay well enough away from each other as the race continues. Big lock up, that's Dan Eaves. That was quite a hard hit, straight into the wall there at Duffus.
Yes, he just came down the straight. Got it all locked up and no steering, straight into the tyre barrier.
On board, let's have a listen.
Well, apart from the noise of metal and rubber, it sounds to me like he might have lost a gear somewhere.
Now Thompson trying to get past Moen and he's tagged him. Very unfortunate, they're just coming through Clark. Thompson just catching the end of him. Now, here's another look.
Yeah, Thompson gets up the inside. Moen really not in a position to give way. Closes the door. Thompson now just accelerates, spins Moen round. That's a bit cruel, but probably was the safest thing to do.
Here's some right-hand lock as well, because this is the battle for the lead. It's Graves down the inside, Shedden in the focus on the outside, and he's got him.
That shows you what happens when you get it clear of other cars. You can run at your own speed.
Down the back straight for the last time. Here's Plato. What can he do? We've got two production cars ahead of him. He's bearing down on Shedden. Surely he'll pick up... Yeah, he must pick up that spot into the... No, he hasn't. Shedden's still got him holding off. Just hold the inside line. Should be able to drag him off up to the hill. Meantime, Graves in the lead, and Graves is going to take this.
Yep, great win for Simon Graves.
Thanks a lot, guys. What a piece of entertainment. That was fabulous racing and not easy for anybody. Plato and Muller just congratulating each other at the race end. No, you couldn't get a more shuffled pack than that, could you? Graves in a production car, then Plato touring, Shedden production, and Muller touring. Doesn't get much better than that. And what about that scrap between Harrison and Kay? Race-long dice, great result. At the halfway stage, Muller enjoyed a 15-point lead over his nearest rival, Jason Plato, his teammate. However, in the pits, the Peugeot team had other things to worry about. Trying to get at least one car ready for the 45-lap feature. Off he goes. Cars building up to speed. No one can pass till they get across the start-finish line. On board with Tommy Erdos. Lights are still red, green, and away they go. And Jason Plato has made a cracking start this time. He's not going to waste that pole position. Van Muller is trying to do something about it, but can't. So it's Plato, then it's Muller, then it's Thompson. Little bit of a touch there from his teammate Bennett. Erdos right behind. Huge gaggle of cars just streaming down the hill. Mercifully, everyone through cleanly, it appears. Shedden made a good start as well in the lead production car. Plenty of those apex markers getting knocked off by the field first time around. Up through Clark. Plato's still in the lead. Up the hill for the first time now. Colin Blair, contact there, that's Colin Blair off sideways, and he's off. That's a very big off.
And if you want to see a car going at 100 miles an hour in reverse, there you've seen it. Colin Blair spins, rolls, ends up on his side.
Now he's parked there right on the crest of the hill. Marshall's running straight to him. I hope he's fine. That's the view from Van Muller meantime. And there's a little bit of contact with him and Jason Plato. Plato just cuts back. Now James Thompson moves in. Just trying to get past down into McIntyre's, and it didn't work. Now Muller's coming under some very big pressure from Phil Bennett as well. Bennett all over the back of Van Muller, which is not what you would expect to see down the back straight. Plato, Thompson, then Muller. There's the safety car. They're obviously backing up the field, stop everything while they get Colin Blair out of that car. Good stuff, he looks okay. Safety car is peeled off. That means we're about to start running again. As soon as we get across the strike, which we have now done, we are racing once again. Plato is in the lead. We're on board with James Thompson, hunting him down the hill. Van Muller in third. That is Phil Bennett in the second of the green and blue Vauxhalls, trying to get in touch with Van Muller. Muller's coming under some real pressure.
It's unusual, Muller, to be in this position. Normally he's pressurising Plato, or he's leading. Suddenly the two egg.com Vauxhalls are all over him.
Now, I reckon Van Muller must be having some sort of a problem. He's falling way back behind James Thompson now and is really having to work to hold off Phil Bennett. No, he's not anymore. Phil is through.
That all went wrong as they came out of the hairpin bend. He didn't have the momentum. Bennett did. But as you're right, Charlie, there's something wrong with Muller's Vauxhall at the minute.
Yeah, he must be working really, really hard. I reckon he'll pit this lap, probably. Just crawling around. That's very disappointing for him, because he worked very hard in race one, and of course ultimately Jason Plato drove brilliantly and muscled his way back past Ivan. Yeah, he does go into the pits. You can see he's been crawling.
Yeah, and also you could just see there's some kind of smoke or something coming from the bottom of the car. Now whether that's the problem or just an auxiliary problem,
well, this isn't the scheduled pit stop.
No, but I think the teams just go through the motions of changing the front tyres. They'll take the strip off, but I think they're going to spend a bit more time looking at this car. Yep, up comes the bonnet.
Power steering fell off. So I tried during 3 laps to carry on, but when the power steering goes off, it's impossible to turn.
Now hang on, I'm finding this baffling actually. There are so few touring cars left out there. Even if he circulated at 40 miles an hour and finished, he'd pick up points. I don't get it.
Well, at least he didn't take his boots off and run away, did he?
Fair enough. Anyway, I'm sure these things, as we watch James Thompson coming into the pits now, as I was saying, I'm sure these things are almost impossible to drive without power steering, but I can't imagine he couldn't have inched around somehow.
I agree with you, but this Thompson, his one and only stop of the afternoon. Thompson wants to get in and out quickly, but this is not happening. 10, 11, well, 11 seconds, that's very poor indeed, and Thompson will be not very happy.
Well, this bloke will be delighted, though. Jason Plato looking to consolidate his lead. He needs some really quick laps now.
They're probably a little bit cautious on those new tyres, not wanting to make a mistake. Thompson's up to temperature and up to speed.
Now, all these pit stops, of course, mean that Steve Soper, who has yet to pit in the Peugeot, is now our race leader. Now, hang on, that Thompson's off. He's gone straight across.
I've got a problem with the car. I don't know what it is. I've got a problem with the car. Power steering's gone.
Well, it's really alarming for James Thompson. Here's a replay. Look what happened.
Yes, and when he realised something went wrong there very quickly, we actually saw the brake lights come on before he went off. A big fight for James.
Well, he's really got some work to do. I tell you what, because we've already seen Van Muller retire with this problem. Now, look, almost as if he's trying to get himself comfortable here to muscle this car around.
Well, what he needs to do now is steer the car really from his shoulders, not his arms. Front-wheel drive without power steering, it's a nightmare.
Well, look at it fighting back. Look at that. Quick grab of the gear stick, then hand straight back on the wheel again.
Believe me, the weight in the steering now is a real workout.
Real pressure now, meantime, in the production battle. Shedden in the focus, Graves turns in, and he's nailed him. Really big hit going into the hairpin. Shedden still running, so is Graves. Graves is, well, that's one way to get through.
It was a bit basic and a bit crude, but it's effective. But look at, there's the damage. Graves' car, it's going to not make it very far down this road.
You'd have to say Graves is a bit unlucky there, though. I mean, it was quite a late cut from Shedden.
Yeah, but you have to say also that Shedden probably found reverse gear, not second gear.
Well, it hasn't worked, and Graves is off. Unbelievable. Down into Duffer's Dip. Keep it rolling, son. Keep it rolling. Toes half the track back on with him. Kitty litter all over it. Down through Duffer's Dip. Still 38 tons of gravel as he turns right into McIntyre's as well. Terrific, Jason Plato. Up to take the checkered flag. Lovely stuff, Sunshine. And Phil Bennett, lights flashing as he comes up the hill. I don't know if that's in jubilation or relief. Well, we said at the start of the feature race it was tight at the top, and it's even tighter now. Have a look at that. Plato just in front of Muller, Thompson not far behind, and Phil Bennett in touch too. Vauxhall leading the team's championship, and not surprisingly, they've taken out the Manufacturers' Cup.
Isn't that fantastic? So early in the year, and I tell you, it's down to these guys, Derek and Ian, and everybody out there, the drivers, and everybody at Vauxhall, so happy about this, and it's a tremendous fillip for us.
Still very tight at the top of the Drivers' Championship for production as well. Kay and Harrison, they swap paint on the track, and they're so close in the points. So from the hills of Scotland to the flatlands of the Norfolk Broads, the next rounds were on the airfield circuit of Snetterton. Now, the weather took a turn just before the start, so the tyre choice was a bit of a gamble, and Phil Bennett didn't even make the start due to gearbox problems. Jason Plato still in pole, but all by himself. That's just what he'll be wanting. Red light lights the green. Plato away. So is Thompson pretty cleanly on the right. Ivan Muller up the middle. Look at Tommy Erdos. Erdos in the Lexus just jumps up straight past both of those Peugeots, which are running slicks, of course, on the front, making their life difficult. Up into Rich's first time. Erdos on the inside. Muller just holds him off. Erdos up into third, that's Plato back into fourth. Now who's in the lead? Well, Muller on the right, Thompson on the left. Coming into Sears now, can he hang on to it? James Thompson runs deep, James runs straight on, just can't get the grip. Runs wide, still running though. That's really what Muller wanted. So Muller is now out in front. Big lead over James Thompson. Meantime, the production boys, as you can see in the smaller screen, have started. So Erdos on the right, Muller on the left, Thompson behind. Now there's Jason Plato darting down the left-hand side of the screen. What can he do? Just get, yes, through past Tommy Erdos. Now we're on board with James Thompson. Muller's run a little bit wide as he's regathered it up again. Well, talk about leaving the door open. That was the whole barn door.
He got it all wrong indeed, and Thompson all set to take advantage, but couldn't quite.
There he is, Graves, then Howell behind him. Then the Renault Clio of Collard, then Kay behind him, then Jackson. Like he was carrying a little bit too much speed there, precarious, but he's just held onto it. Fastest part of the track, really honking down here. And got to watch some speed off for the left hand. Hey, watch out, Tom! That was Ivan Muller having quite a focusing moment there. And then Muller has tagged Kramer. Kramer's off. No, he's on. No, he's off. No, he's on. Ride him, cowboy. That is an official tank slapper. And Kramer having to regroup very, very sharply. What was that all about?
Well, his arms must have been moving faster than a fiddler's elbow to keep that focus on track one way or another.
Now, here's James Thompson's view. Look ahead through his windscreen. You can just see Muller there. And that's what James can see. Kramer going off and coming back on again. Then going off again. Just ducking the pendulum swing of that Ford Focus and timing it to perfection. But here's somebody else timing it to perfection. Look! Jason Plato gets through. Picks up a place through all of that confusion. Well, I hope Kramer hasn't got a headache, because I sure have. That was dizzying indeed. Graves, Howell and Collard still your race leaders because they are in the production cars and they still head the field. Ivan Muller there in P9, working his way up in the touring car ranks, threading his way through the field. Now, we're on the last lap. And this is going to be a very close finish because Simon Graves, who is still leading production and leading outright, is being dramatically caught by this man here, Ivan Muller.
You can see the headlights of Muller's car just boring holes in the back of that Honda, but it's close, only 2 corners to go.
Coram, what can he do? There's Graves, there's Muller. Graves is cleared away from the rest of the production guys, as Ivan Muller has cleared away from the rest of the touring cars. Through the Russell S's for the last time. Can he hang on to it? Graves puts the power down. Muller does.
But a lot of squirt from the Honda. Vauxhall is not going to make it.
It's going to be very, very close. Body language from the pit wall tells you all. Great stuff for Simon Graves. Nicely done. The gentleman takes the checkered flag for the field. Well, was that nail biting or what? that was the closest finish yet between the production and the touring cars, with Simon Graves in the production Honda just seeing off Ivan Muller, with Jason Plato third, Gareth Howell fourth. Good drive from Rob Collard, fifth outright and third in production, but it wasn't easy.
It was very, very tricky conditions out there, very, very slippery, and I could see the tourers catching us on the Class A cars catching us on the last lap, and it's just the finish was like a horse race. It was just won by a nose, I think.
Wow, tough conditions out there, and still the long race to come. But before we get back to the racing, Dawn McDaniel joined Jason Plato for a day at the racetrack.
Hello. Jason Plato. Oh,
I'm quite lucky because I can sleep anywhere. I can sleep standing up. In the very early days, we stopped in the back of a van.
Let's just look in his bathroom. Nice mulberry wash bag.
These girls that are draped all over the front of our cars, and the banter on the radio is very, very amusing.
I can imagine.
Yeah, it is.
Dolce Gabbana.
I don't like eating breakfast in hotels. There's 5 things on there, so that's looking quite good, isn't it?
This is Mr. Plato.
Good morning. They say it's all about his achievements and his tenacity to succeed at impressively more money.
This is Linda, Jason's mum.
Yes, I do get very tense at the circuit. Try not to show it though.
We're now coming into the Vauxhall motorhome.
As the van's demonstrating now, we can come in here and put our feet up and hide.
Do you enjoy meeting all your friends?
Yeah, I do actually, yeah, I do. Look at the queue we've got, it's massive. I can remember doing this when I was a kid.
Do you like Jason Plato?
Yeah.
I can remember the Grand Prix at Silverstone in 1976.
Do you think he's a good driver?
Yeah.
And I can remember what I was like as a little lad.
Do you want to be a driver?
No, I want to be in the army.
Probably not a bad qualification for being a racing driver in this championship. It is a battlefield out there after all. I tell you what, it doesn't look like a bad job, does it, Jason Plato's? Lights go to green, will they? Yep, they've let the start go in any case, and the touring cars are off. Then an almost separate race behind for production. Blaze of lights. Jason Plato leads, and Ivan Muller is right behind him. Then Phil Bennett, good start there, up into third. Thompson fourth. Then Tommy Erdos in the Lexus brings up fifth. Up across the start-finish line again into the darkness. Muller very, very close. No one pitting yet.
No, but also remember Phil Bennett running his car lighter than the 2 Vauxhalls ahead of him. He hasn't got the weight penalty that they're carrying.
Oh, and Ivan Muller there had a look down the inside of Jason Plato. I don't know if there was any contact there.
Well, it's Bennett's chance now. Low weight, good drive off the corner. Muller, watch out.
Phil Bennett through on the inside of Ivan Muller. Very strong pass in there through the bomb hole. He's absolutely on a charge. Look at Phil Bennett go. That's Jason Plato in the lead, but Bennett is right up his exhaust pipe. Now he darts to the left-hand side. Big high-speed right-hander coming up. Is he through? Yes, he is. Phil Bennett up into the lead. Hot stuff. Bennett on the outside. Well, I spoke too soon. Tagged him. That's Plato and Bennett has been shuffled into the infield. Slithering across the grass. This is just going on and on and on. Now Plato and Muller are going to be coming around here somewhere. They're through. He's back on, just missing the marshal's post in the process.
Now clearly Bennett's taken the position from Plato, but because he was on the inside, he runs wide on the exit. Plato runs up the inside, tags him on the right rear, and then just simply forces the Vauxhall sideways with the nose of his car. Now that is out of order, Jason. You should know that.
Meantime, here's Phil Bennett limping back to the pits. He's wounded.
When I catch Plato, I'm going to take a piece of skin out of this race. He's going to suffer in a large way. Championship.
Okay, Phil, can you keep going? The split is hanging off. Do you need to come in now?
I reckon he's so mad he could carry that car in. Into the pits now, threading his way back up.
Need to check the steering because he just wouldn't turn left.
Well, that's the reason his steering isn't working.
Damage on the splitter. Got it? started, fourth slick as planned.
Well, that's the problem.
Okay, will do, staying out.
Well, there's Muller and Dan Eves in the Peugeot right behind him. Now Ivan Muller moves to the right-hand side of the track. He's into pit.
So 19.2 seconds was the time for Jason Plato. He's running behind Moen. Now they're all running on the speed limiter at 40 miles an hour, so there's no big disadvantage to Miller. But now, bring the car up, stop it right on the mark. Let the Vauxhall guys go to work. Car comes up. Already the rears are off, the slicks are going on. He's going to be watching the clock. He wants to be out quicker. He wants to get out ahead of Jason Plato.
Big lick of fire there as well from those front discs.
13.3 seconds. Miller is going to be very happy indeed, and he should be taking the lead comfortably as he leaves the pit lane.
Well, we've talked before about braking technique. The fact that Ivan Muller is a left foot braker, and that's proof in the pudding as he weaves all over the track, getting no grip at all. Look, those brakes are still red hot. You could have toasted marshmallows on the brake fire he had when he pitted.
Certainly you could see the lick of flame, but also he just got the car offline onto the wet bit of track. No grip at all.
Muller's still in the lead, but slipping and sliding and going to the infield. He's off. Now there's Plato right behind him. Muller's run wide. Plato's through.
Well, all that good work in the pits, Muller has lost it. Every corner on this outlap, he's been in trouble. The car's been all over the racetrack, and look at it still through the bomb hole.
Yeah, it's not driving, it's crisis management.
Now let's look back at the S's. Muller, he's the master of driving in snow and ice and Chamonix in the wintertime. This is only wet at Snetterton, and he gets it wrong yet again. Now look, runs wide on the exit of the S's, and Jason Plato has made up the deficit that resulted during the pit stops.
Well, he might be struggling for grip, Muller, but it still is the Plato and Muller show. They are very, very clear ahead of James Thompson in third position. Now, on board was fourth place man and production leader Graves. Where's that track, Simon? It's out there somewhere. There's Gareth Howell just slipping down the inside of the Focus. Graves switches back. Howell runs a little bit wide. Running onto the back straight. Made it stick, though. Now, side by side, here they go. There's Plato and Muller, teammates. No one bothering with the track whatsoever. Banging over the mud. Now, Plato has won out of all of that, and, well, Muller's had a Phil Bennett custom job done to the front of his car. This is very busy down the back straight. I think he got a little bit of a nudge there from Jason Plato. Plato, Muller through, Harrison on the right-hand side of your screen. Everyone ducking and weaving down the back straight. James Thompson's in the thick of it, and you can see he was the fastest man out there. Was he? What? Now Plato's run wide, and Muller's through this time, and Thompson is through as well. I can't keep up with this. It's all go.
Well, we didn't really see what Plato did. He just seemed to get it all wrong. But here's our chance to look at it from James Thompson's point of view. But look at Muller. He got a real run on Thompson coming down into the S's. Both cars scrubbing under braking, but Plato gets it wrong. He overruns the corner. Muller cuts back. Thompson's got a grandstand view of it, up into second place, and now pushing Muller.
Well, it never rains, but it pours. There's the confirmation, if you needed it. Muller, Thompson, Plato, Soper, and Erdos. They drag each other down the back straight, and James Thompson is through. Thompson's out-dragged Muller, just nicks it down the inside.
And that's good motor racing. Muller recognised he was outdone into the corner. He didn't bash into Thompson. He allowed him to take the lead. That's correct motor racing.
Now, there's Tommy Erdos coming under some pressure from Dan Eves. Eves on a charge.
Well, Eves has had a pretty miserable day so far. Maybe this is going to be a better ending for him.
Out through Coram, fast part of the circuit. Hey, and he's off! That's Eves wide. Very big hit. Off backwards into the wall at Coram. Big spin around as we saw. Marshall's over there quickly. You can see him moving in the car. Should be fine.
Yeah, I think so, but it was a very big impact. Me and my big mouth. I thought Dan Eves was going to see the evening out fairly comfortably. Well, that was far from comfortable. A big impact. Rear, front car spreads the tyres all over the place. At least he's walking away, other than being bruised.
Yeah, here's another look.
I don't know why. He just comes around the corner. He's wide again in the middle part of the corner. Of course, it's wet there on slick tyres. The grass is soaking wet. Car hits the barriers so hard, throws it up in the air, spins it round, lands and keeps spinning. Really tops and tails the Peugeot, and there's not much of that car. It's going to be salvageable.
And the worst thing is that was a new car. Now on board with Dan, let's watch what he was doing. Tommy Erdos ahead.
Now the grey part of the track's dry, the dark part's wet. Dan just gets those two left wheels on the wet part, and there you see, it just goes ballistic.
That was an explosive accident indeed, but we have seen the most important thing of all, and that was Dan walking away clean and unhurt. Very important indeed. Now, James Thompson, Muller, and then Jason Plato. That's your order in the top three. There is Jason Plato. The man on the screen, and that's another one off. That's Collard. Collard in the Renault. Boy, was that close. And this is the fight for P2 in the touring car ranks. Ivan Muller, very, very rough and ready indeed, using all the track and a little bit more there. Trying to stay in touch with Jason Plato. Feeding once again around Coram, and he's running wide, and there's Dan Eve's car, and that is just too close. Oh boy, and this is going on and on and on. Finally pirouettes around on the grass, back again. It ain't pretty, but there's plenty of colour and movement. Well, there is your red flag. Red flag and a checkered flag as well. So end of the race. Checkered flag, that is confirming positions and ending this race as well. Obviously, one spin too many past Dan Eve's car.
I think in these circumstances, too much at risk. Prudence pays the result.
And there is the result. James Thompson, P1, Jason Plato and Ivan Muller 2 and 3 respectively after a ding-dong race-long clash. And look at that, Gareth Howell, 7th outright, his first production win. The news up at the Yorkshire circuit was that Jason Plato had been awarded a 30-second penalty for his move on Phil Bennett in the Snetterton feature race. So after 16 rounds, Muller and Plato were now equal on points. You can't get closer than that. Lights turned to red though, ready for a start. Everyone away cleanly, I think. Tommy Erdos, a stunning start there on the right, just pulling past Ivan Muller. Left on your screen, Phil Bennett right behind him. Erdos, Jason Plato alongside. Plato tucks in. Just tucks in. There goes Tommy Erdos. Just feeding his way through, running a little bit wide now. Tucking in behind him. Just leaping across that chicane for the first time and under the drag onto the back straight. Meantime, in the small frame, it's the cavalry charge. Now we're coming up towards this massive complex of corners. Left, then a right, then a left again. Feeding through one after the other. Here's the tight right-hander, and, well, Steve Soper through, then off again. That was quick for a second.
Well, Steve had a shot at it, but the shot was never on, and that's the result.
Yep, big misfire indeed. Tommy Erdos said after you, and then stepped back and drove right behind him. Now, safety car out. This is the view from Jason. Whoa, what's going on here? Bit of confusion. I don't know if they're waving to them or waving them through. That's the reason why. Tom Boardman stuck there.
Tom Boardman's off. I think Bennett didn't even see the safety car. He was focused on the track ahead of him.
Well, now here's a replay at the start of the production race. Might throw a bit of light on it. Big problem there for James Kay behind Harrison, who decides for reasons best known to himself to open the door.
I think all he could do was some signal, I'm in trouble. He couldn't get his hand out the window quick enough, could he?
Yeah, well, don't get out now, mate, because cars are still trying to pass you. Now we're going into the first corner. Now let's see what... There's Tom Boardman. Contact there. Just gets tagged, spins to the infield. Skittles time at the start of the race.
Racing now, are we?
Looks that way, Jimmy. Yeah, doesn't have to race, mate.
James Thompson just getting confirmation there that the race has actually started again. And look at the gap. He's way behind.
Indeed, but it was very confusing, particularly for the touring cars.
Pretty confusing there for Roger Mines as well. Just getting tagged by Tom Ferrier. Let's have another look.
Well, Ferrier in the quicker car just comes down inside. There was never any way of making the pass. Contact was inevitable. Now that is what's been talked about over the last week at Snetterton, and I think Tom Ferrier should take it to note.
Well, there is our race leader Graves now. Roger Moen is really trying to chew on the back of him through the very, very tight hairpin onto the pit straight. Gavin Piper still very much in touch. So are both of those Ford Focuses. Now, meantime, back at the front, race leader Phil Bennett. Well, not anymore. Jason Plato just slips through a Tower Bend, and so does Ivan Muller, does he? Side by side, nothing much in it. The very fast left-right's coming up. Muller thinks better of it, tucks in behind. That was easy.
Well, after all the threats Bennett made, I'm going to destroy Plato's championship. He couldn't have made the door wider. He let Plato drive straight through.
Okay, here's that hairpin. And now look, Muller straight down the inside of Bennett, side by side. Will there be room? Will there be room? Dear me, after you.
2 cars in 1 lap. That's the pole sitter has gone from first to third. I just wonder, are there team orders in play here?
Well, very sporting stuff there from Phil Bennett as we watch Phil Bennett and Ivan Muller work it out down the end of the pit straight. Yellow flags there, so that means no passing. And Andy Templeton, I think, one of the Peugeots stranded there on the gravel.
Of course, yellow flag indicates no overtaking in that zone. Look for the green flag, then you can recommence racing.
And you can see, actually, Van Muller stomping on the brakes as Phil Bennett has a bit of a tank slapper there out of the chicane. Very focusing.
But, of course, Bennett got past Muller. He shouldn't have done that.
Well, Muller's now done. That's exactly where Jason Plater got through a lap ago, and now Muller slipped through. Production battle. Graves, there's our leader. Roger Moen right behind him there in the Peugeot. Moen having a look down the inside. This is close. Graves is quick, but he's under pressure.
But the Honda's got lots of power, and Craft is a circuit that pays dividends for that horsepower.
Well, here's a Moen's eye view. Let's see. They're lunging down the inside. This is the tight complex. I was waiting for some contact there. You can hear the engine die. Whew.
Well, you hear the brakes lock. We don't know where Graves went to. He's somewhere to the right of Moen.
I think he fled to safety. Now here's that very tight hairpin. He's taking a wide line. Maybe Graves is still in there somewhere, but from the windscreen view at least, he's our leader. There's Graves behind. He's really stuck one in here. Moen, he's definitely stamped his authority on it. In fact, if anything, it looks like Gavin Piper is moving right up onto the back there of Graves.
Well, Gavin would have seen all the action ahead of him. He could position himself to take full advantage of it, but has he got the speed?
Well, here we are now on board with Graves. Can we fight back? Boom! Moen just clubbed those tyres on the way through.
It was inevitable. Those tyres are always in a vulnerable part of the track. An inch too far to the left, and that's what happens.
Yeah, the driver's really trying to step on the gas there and get maximum speed down the back straight. Here's the first set of tyres on the way past this really big carousel part of the track. Here's the exit. Oh, just missing those tyres. We've lost it. Oh, that Armco looks so close. Phil Bennett, under the circumstances, lucky to get away with that. Could have gone in a lot harder than that. It's obviously wrecked his race, but even so. Simon Graves does exactly the same thing.
I don't know what Graves is going to say because there didn't appear to be a tyre in the middle of the track this time, but nonetheless, the result's pretty much the same, but of course, able to continue.
Down through the complex for the last time, looking into this very, very tight U-turn. He's still leading the race in his class, and of course he's still leading the race outright.
And also, most importantly, he's got a clear track ahead of him, no pressure.
And he's going to do it. Coming down to get that start-finish line now. Checkered flag out.
This is the checkered flag. Well done, boys. Well done.
Well done, everyone. I'll tell you what, how many times did I get stuck there with the traffic? Well done, boys. Good race.
Well, not too many times because you won your class, so you can't be happier than that. Roger Moen winning outright. Great race from him. Jason Plato wins touring cars and second outright. Van Muller and Gavin Piper onto the leaderboard, second in his class and fourth outright. James Thompson, James Kay, Howell and Tommy Erdos. With James Thompson not being able to stop Plato and Muller collecting the best points again, it was effectively narrowing down the championship fight between the two Works Vauxhall drivers. Lights go to green. Flag marshal happy, that's a start. Down into the corner for the first time, Thompson, Bennett to the left, Muller right behind, Muller straight through. Just see Steve Soper there running a little bit wide on board with Jason Plato. Now there's the view. They're coming up towards the chicane. Oh, a bit of a touch there. That was Soper just tagging him on the way past, pushing through. Still pretty tight at the top. Muller on the right-hand side. Got a pretty good run out of that corner, but Jimmy T has just got enough momentum to carry him through. And Phil Bennett off, straight ahead, through the gravel. Drags it back on again.
Well, look, for a weekend that promised so much for Phil Bennett, it couldn't have gone much more wrong.
Okay, here's the Van Muller. He has yet to stop. We can see that by the yellow strip above his name. This is the last set of corners before the pit entrance. You reckon this time?
I think he's going to be in this time, but he's going to be on tender hooks because he must get in cleanly, have a quick stop, get back out to ensure that he retains the lead of this race.
Well, that slightly awkward stop that James Thompson had may well play into his hands. It's all to play for now.
So bring it in slowly. Be careful. Look how wet the pit lane is. Very tentative. Brings the car to a standstill. The car up. Again, the guys, it's one of those things of Again, just take it easy. Don't try and go quickly. 7.6 seconds. That should be enough to get Muller back out in the lead and ahead of James Thompson.
Well, there is Muller. Where are they? Down the pit straight. That worked a treat for Ivan Muller.
Okay, Ivan, it worked. You're out in front of Tomo. It worked, okay? You're leading now.
And there's your confirmation. Thompson. Soper's still in second position at the moment because he hasn't pitted yet, but James Thompson critically in third place, and he has pitted. Now, up Periscope is the view from the back wing of Steve Soper's car, and what a filthy day.
And look at those conditions. And look, one of the Vauxhalls off.
Yeah, mud and gunk all over the place. That was somebody putting, I can't even see who it was, two wheels out onto the mud. It was Phil Bennett and Steve Soper side by side with him down into Tower Bend. Very, very close. Rear wheel off. Bit of a tag there from Bennett. Soper hangs on. This is getting tough, and Steve Soper fights back.
Yeah, Bennett thought he had a chance of getting through. Soper just held on by his fingernails and kept that position, but damage to the right side of his Peugeot.
Well, it ain't over yet. Both of them driving off the circuit, really getting into it. Hammer and tongs straight off the curbs. Standing water now getting worse and worse. Sheets of it all over these cars as they try to get the power down, then stand on the brakes, wash the speed off. Steve Soper slipping and sliding all over the place. So is Phil Bennett. Max-o commitment.
And Bennett's got to run at Soper as they come up into this final chicane.
Well, there's Thompson. Plato really pressuring. This is for position. And there's real pressure as well. That's Bennett and Soper. Tags him, pushes him. And again, hip and shoulder. Pushed wide. Now, and Soper fights back. Soper nails Phil Bennett straight into the back of the car. Soper's in front. Bennett still going, well, I'll have a bit of that, says Tom Ferrier. Looks like fun.
Well, the last time I saw driving like this was in Bognor Regis on the Dodge jump.
Well, here's where it all started. That's Tower Bend. That's the view from Soper's car, and that's Bennett. Okay, that was start one. Now we're into the complex.
Yes, and Bennett has another pop. Both cars get in the grass. Bennett really not able to do very much. Soper on the outside, then the slap on the side. Now it's Soper behind Bennett. Let's see what happens.
Push. Push.
Well, that you hear Bennett's throttle is wide open. He's just pushing that Vauxhall into the side of the Peugeot.
Well, just leapt off Steve Soper's Christmas card list. Of that, there is no doubt. Now, here's the end of it.
This is the third time these drivers have got together. Started at Donington, carried on at Knock Hill, and of course here now in Croft.
Steve Soper, meantime, still running, but look at the front of that car. You could park your bicycle in it.
I wonder if it's going to be any quicker. That aerodynamic modification, you never know, sometimes does help a car.
Well, it ain't pretty, but it's still running. That's what they used to look like, and he's off! Phil Bennett absolutely sideways. Save of the day. He's brought it back from nowhere.
I bet you he didn't even know where he was. There's so much spray out there. He just floored the throttle and the car straightened itself up.
Now lunging down the inside of Tim Harvey. Tower Bend. Straight ahead. He's off. Dear me, can he keep it running? Can he? No, he's just caught in that mud. That's the end of it. And once again, the safety car is out, and we know why. Now, meantime, back at the front, while we were watching Phil Bennett and his problems, this is what happened just before the safety car came out. That's Plato, that's Thompson, and that's a pass.
And it's a very, very wet part of the racetrack as well. Plato's going to have to do a very good job. He got an apex, he kept the car in. Good driving from Plato.
Restart again. Muller, Plato, Thompson, Erdos, Ferrier. You've heard it all before. It's deja vu. But they are running once again.
And for Ivan Muller, of course, he's got the clear track ahead of him, no spray. He's got to capitalise on that advantage.
Every time he capitalises on the advantage, out comes the safety car and everyone closes up again. But here we go once again, same race order as last time. There's Kay, Graves behind him, but it's Jim Edwards Jr. who's leading in production because those two are a lap down, and Lemersov, same corner, but he's further in than everybody else. This is like shot put, so you can get the car further in. And there's Jackson. And he's run very wide as Jim Edwards Jr. He's clubbed the pylon at the end of the pit straight, and he's still running. Jackson's in front. No, he's not. Edwards is back in front.
Talk of it, you couldn't kill it with a stick.
I mean, it's on the damage to the side of the Honda, the speed he hit that barrier, and how that car is running right now and leading his class. Look, over the gravel, doesn't really slow down very much, side swipes the tyres, then he has another go at the barrier, and he still keeps going, his boots flat on the throttle.
I reckon he was the stunt driver in Bullet. Back on the track, at this point he's still in P2, but he clawed his way back. This fella hasn't clawed his way back from anywhere. He's been leading all the way through as a Van Muller.
And a happy man he's going to be to take another race victory today.
Very important to his championship hunt. Moves over to the pit wall.
Guys, well done.
Is he happy?
Good speed stop. Everything was perfect. Well done.
Okay, 10 out of 10 for the boys then. That's the verdict. Jim Edwards Jr. just drags the thing across the line. Great race. Matt Jackson there in that Focus, a worthy competitor, bringing it home in second in the class. There's your confirmation. Outright, Muller, Plato and Thompson. And look at that, Tommy Erdos in the Lexus, top 4. Great stuff. Dan Eves, Jim Edwards Jr., Jackson and Howell. After the altercations between Phil Bennett and Steve Soper up at Croft, the rookie touring car driver was banned for one race. So the Formula 3 driver Andy Prio took his place. And guess what? He promptly stuck his car on pole. Twice. And there's your pole man. Dream pole man, Andy Prio. Lights red, ready for a start. They're off. Good start for Muller. Not such a good start there for Andy Prio. Side by side there, all the way cleanly. Soper on the right. Looks like Van Muller's got the jump, though, as they come into the first corner. Yes, he has. Right behind him is Andy Prio. Muller running with him as well. There is Steve Soper. Whole bunch of them. Everybody away cleanly. Now, down through the Cascades for the first time. Great start there for Van Muller. Prio moving to cover. And Steve Soper up into third.
Strong drive from Soper, even though we are only 3 corners. But for Andy Prio, that was, well, let's call it pole position sitters. First time nerves. Too much wheel spin.
Yeah, just a bit too much enthusiasm. The production cars, meantime, have set off as well. They lead the charge now, trying to stay ahead of this pack. Up and over the strike for the first time. So it's Muller, Prio and Soper. Jason Plato very much in touch there as well. Now Dan Eves, here's an interesting view from him, looking down across the top of his car through Old Hall Corner, and very wide through Old Hall Corner. It's like grass skiing.
Well, he made a great apex in the middle of Old Hall, but got it all wrong on the exit.
And cost him a place as well. James Thompson just worming his way straight past. Sees the opportunity straight away to move his way up through the field. Now, here's the view from Jason Plato. That's Steve Soper ahead of us. This is the battle for third. We're coming down to the hairpin. We've got to turn right. Oh, that's close. Just can't find a way through. Muller, Prio, and now Steve Soper really getting a workout from Plato and James Thompson, obviously thinking maybe there's something I can do here.
Well, Thompson's just got to sit back and watch Plato and Soper. They're going to be involved in a massive tussle as they come into Old Hall. He could be the beneficiary.
Looks like he's shaping up here, Waddy. Down the inside is Plato. Yep, he's through now. Soper tries to cut back and fight back. Can't quite do it. James Thompson hanging on to it. Soper has another look over the crest cascades. Soper fights back. Soper down the outside. Round just cannot make it stick. Plato with it. Good stuff.
Well, if you want to know what Squirt's all about, the Peugeot had it just used that horsepower to draw alongside Plato, but Plato had track position.
Yeah, James Thompson hasn't got the Squirt to do the same thing. He's trying to get round the outside the long way. A drag down the back straight to Soper. Couldn't quite get past. Soper has held the position. Well, there's the lead. Moen, Harrison and Piper, and there is the front of that Ford Focus. Looks like he's got his teeth out. Jackson's dropping more bits of Focus detritus all over the place and now taking to the grass. I suppose he's got a front downforce excuse maybe. That's a very agricultural, and he's come back on. Can he actually still stay in front of his teammate? No. Throwing body panels at him won't do the trick, mate. You've got to stay on the track.
Oh, what a shame. Steve Soper has really driven very well in the sprint race. Let's hope it's not too serious.
Yeah, bit of a fairy tale over there. It was running so well. Now, Van Muller, meantime, is now about to take the lead of this race outright. Absolutely. Slides past Roger Moen. There you are, a pair of leaders in their class. Muller in touring, Moen in production. And right behind him is Andy Prio. There's a look there from Muller. Oh, so easy.
Yeah, I mean, he's just driving around, not sliding the car, not curving the car, just taking it easy, in control. And he knows that Andy Prio is not going to do anything too stupid right now.
But he's right in touch with him. Stunning stuff.
Yes, he's dropped back. I think Muller has just dropped off in his last couple of laps. He doesn't need to do any more.
And the screen tells the story. First blood today for Ivan Muller. Points he valuably needs. Andy Prio, great drive there, half a second behind in second. Jason Plato, he still banked something in P3. Now Simon Harrison, that's important, second in his class, but Roger Moen, who's closing on him all the time, wins the race, important for him.
Because Andy's come in second, it's vastly improved your championship standing.
Yeah, sure, that gave me a bit bigger gap on Jason, so no, fine, everything perfect.
Thanks for embarrassing me, everybody. Is it 100 years of age or 100 BTC races?
And a perfect 100 BTCC starts for Steve Soper. Across the line, they're off and racing. Prio, Plato, right behind them. Ivan Muller into the first corner, side by side. Prio's got it, yes, he's in the lead. Very, very sideways there. Muller and Plato just hopping and skipping over the curbs. Just ahead of us, Steve Soper. Down Cascades for the first time. This is a Thompson's eye view. Gonna hook left now. Is there room for us around the outside? No, there's not. In the toe. Yes, that is what a Peugeot looks like up very close indeed.
Well, that's a very fine cut from James Thompson, but he's on the wrong side of the track to get past Soper into the right-hand hairpin bend.
So it's Prio, then Plato, then Muller. Soper and Thompson almost side by side. Harvey and Tommy Erdos side by side as well in the Lexus and in the Alfa respectively. Prio moves to the left, down the hill. There is Harvey, there's Erdos. Down in, well, at least they're both black. In case they lose any paint, but Harvey is through. Very tough stuff.
Yes, well placed by Harvey. He had the advantage. Erdos recognised it. On your first lap, don't be a hero.
Everyone stays in the race order, up across the strike for the first time. Andy Prio is leading this race.
Of course, the rolling start much easier for Prio, but watch Muller in third place. He's leading the championship right now. He doesn't want Plato to claw back too many more points.
Okay, Plato to the right, Muller's stuck to the left, Muller's on the grass, Muller's off! Sliding down the inside, the field is streaming down through Cascades now, it's got to be close. Wow, that was James Thompson just missing Ivan Muller. What an off.
Well, that was scary. Let's see again what happened. Plato gets a good run off Old Hole, gets alongside Prio. Muller thinks he can go the long way round, but once on the grass, it is history. The car spins. Look at the tufts of grass and mud everywhere. Back across the track somewhere. James Thompson got through. How he missed him, I don't know. I don't think even Muller knew where he was.
Okay, race is finished for me. Thank you, Mr. Prio.
Oh, big slip and slide by Moen down the inside of Harrison. Wandering under brakes and whacks him on the way through. I reckon that's 1-1.
Well, we also know that Peugeot are a little bit marginal on brakes here with the 306s, but this team has worked very hard indeed to get good brakes that will last for the entire race, but Moen uses them to the limit. Bang! Into Harrison's door.
They aren't marginal brakes, mate. He's got two Peugeots to help him stop. His own set of brakes and Harrison's as well. There they are, Plato, Prio, and Soper still in touch.
Yes, but just watch from the back of that car on certain parts of the track. You'll see that little wisp of black smoke. I don't know whether it's oil or hydraulic fluids, but Soper's decided to come into the pits now. I'm assuming this is a regular pit stop for tyres.
Well, let's hope so. We don't want problems for him, not when he's having his 100th race.
Well, the team are going to go to work. They're going to beat 6.4. That was the time for Danny. 6.2. What a celebration on your 100th race.
Yeah, these Peugeot boys are red hot in the pits today. Oh no, talk about red hot. Those fireworks out of the back of Andy Prio's car mean that this particular party is over. I don't know what's going on there, but it's a huge oil leak, obviously. Something like that, or an engine gone.
That is something. We'll see him go straight into the pits with that amount of fluid coming out onto the exhaust pipe. It's on the racetrack. It'll be covering the entire underneath of the car. He even slows down. He goes through the process of doing a pit stop, but I think it's all over.
Well, it is a dream over. He was running in second position as he did in race one, and remember, he led this race for a bit as well. Car's up on jacks, as you say, just as a precaution, but that looks terminal.
Yeah, the guys now have got to dive under the car. They'll see very quickly there'll be oil dripping off every suspension part, the exhaust system. That's probably where the smoke was coming from. But can you imagine the amount of oil that might be around the circuit? There's a Torrey Canyon's worth of it in the pit lane.
Jason Plato's got to brave it now. Straight across that oil line, which you can see running into the pit lane, into his.
Fortunately, he's at the far end of the pit, so any that's on the rear tyres there, not going to be changed. Should have been taken off. Brand new tyres go in the front. We're going to see what they can do for Plato. Well, 9.2, neither Vauxhall pit stop we've seen this afternoon has been particularly good.
Tommy Erdos in the Lexus. Now here's a turn up for the books. Tommy Erdos in the Lexus is now leading. He's yet to pit, but this is the first time that a Lexus has ever led a lap of the British Touring Car Championship, as we see Jason Plato come out behind Steve Soper. Remember, Soper's pitted, Plato's pitted. The significance of that is that when all of the pit stops are run through, at the moment at least, it's Soper, Plato and Thompson. They've all pitted. That's the order. Look at that. Thompson now climbing all over the back of Jason Plato. Thompson's been out a couple of laps. Plato's fresh out of the pits. Thompson challenging. What can he do? Cuts to the inside round the hairpin, up over the crest of the hill. Plato's moving him across. Plato cuts right across in front of us. Now we're down the left-hand side, coming down towards Knickerbrook. Plato, where is he? No, he's moving back again. Really defensive.
I didn't like that move that Plato made on Thompson. It was a little bit unfair, but of course he is on those cool tires. He's got to take his chances, otherwise Thompson will be through, and he will really, really struggle to get back ahead of Thompson.
And that's Steve Soper. Steve Soper, the man who was leading this race. Smoke pouring out of the back of it. Remember, he pitted early, so he was effectively the man leading on the road. But at this stage, at least, he's still limping along. Although he's slowing now. He's slowing now, coming down into Knickerbrook.
Yeah, I think, in fact, it looks like the oil is about to be, well, it's gone. There's no oil left. And Steve Soper's pulled over, and a very sad, but what a great drive from Soper into retirement.
Yeah, that is hugely disappointing, but what a great showing it was indeed. Jason Plato, luckiest guy since Ringo Starr, is now up in the lead. James Thompson in second position, and Steve Soper pausing by the side of the track to think what's happened to him. Jason was under some real pressure from James Thompson after the pit stops, managed to see it off, and he comes across the line, banks the points, takes the win. James Thompson in second place.
Well done, guys. Well done.
Yeah, well done indeed, and well done to this bloke, Dan Eaves, second podium for Peugeot, and his first of the year, third place outright. Well, I hope Ivan Muller's not looking now. That's what he won't want to see. Plato from Thompson, Dan Eaves, P3, great stuff, and Mark Blair on the leaderboard in fourth in his first outing, just ahead of Tim Harvey, Tommy Erdos. Good result there, and then Moen Harrison and Piper third in production. And here's our Drivers' Championship chart. As we can see, Plato is hit-bound 10 points now ahead of Ivan Muller, who's dropped. James Thompson further out of touch in third, Bennett in fourth, and no contest, Vauxhall Motorsport in the Teams' Championship. There was great excitement in the pit lane as the MG team made the long-awaited debut. Anthony Reid and Warren Hughes, the team's two drivers. However, engine modifications after practice saw their great qualifying times disallowed, and so they both started from the back of the grid. Revs are up, ready for a start. Lights go to green and they're away. Bennett and Muller lighting the front tyres up, just dumping the clutch and getting away cleanly. Good start for them. Bennett on the right. Jason Plato just slotting in behind. Now, we're on board with Steve Soper. Ahead of us is Ivan Muller and Jason Plato. You can tell because they're both red Vauxhalls. Just on the right of your screen, you can see good start there for production. Up the smoke from the rear of those Vauxhalls. Plato just in front of Muller. Moving down the back straight for the first time. This is a Soper eye view. Now look at that, Muller trying to cover heaps of tyre smoke and really working himself hard. Has he overcooked it? Has he overcooked it? There's Plato, there's Muller. Side by side, he looked like he outbraked himself.
Yeah, Plato also saw that very well, read the situation well, got position now alongside into bridge.
Oh, what a handful Muller's got. He's not going to yield. Has Plato got him? He's down the inside. Muller fights back. We've got to turn left here, guys. Just told you he's a lucky, lucky boy as Muller. Now Plato's coming under pressure. James Thompson having a storming race here as well. Really bringing these guys into account. Okay, on board now with Roger Moen. He is trying to get back that lead position.
Has he got it? Side by side with Graves. Yes, he has. He's pulled it back because Graves beat him on the start. Great fighting stuff.
That just shows you the squirt that the Peugeot has got up the hill. Honda had no answer to the Peugeot power.
Now, I tell you what, that Ford Focus is pretty much his touch as well. Now that's Dan Eaves making a move on Anthony Reid. Did he touch him? Reid's run deep, off onto the grass, still moving, but lost position. Tommy Erdos sliding there through as well. Now, here's a replay.
Dan Eaves, Anthony Reid. Well, Anthony, welcome back to touring cars. A sight and a feel you're familiar with from many years in the past.
Yeah, just a touch of braille driving there, I think, from Dan Eaves. Production battle now, and a battle it is too. Look at them all. Jackson off. Did he jump or was he pushed?
Definitely pushed. Simon Graves tagged him as he came into Abbey. Now watch again, here's the onboard view from Piper's car. There's the Honda going down the inside. Jackson on line, bang in the right rear corner. Jackson's furious. Graves has picked up one position.
Yeah, well, at this stage at least. Now, Gavin Piper moving up on the inside of Tom Boardman. And there goes James Kay. Looks like it's fun to leap off the track. I think it was unassisted.
Well, we have to wait and see on that one. Certainly hard to tell whether that was forced or unforced. But here's the onboard view. James Kay coming up into Prairie Bumps, and all of a sudden, back goes to the front and he's into the gravel.
Well, Harrison has picked up a place behind him, but there you go, all by himself.
Totally unforced error. James Kay will say, well, those are points I've just thrown away.
Phil Bennett, meantime, our race leader. Remember him? So far off into the distance, but he's off. He's gathered it up again, and he hasn't lost position, but that could have been very embarrassing.
Keep concentrating. Come on, you can do this. Not long to go now. Keep concentrating.
Phil, keep your eyes on the road. Don't think of the checkered flag just yet.
Well, a wake-up call, probably a welcome one. Tom Boardman now getting a little bit of a tap there from Simon Harrison, and another tap. And well, he must be thinking to himself, have I got a target written on my car? Side by side, pushes back again. Fair enough stuff from Tom. Now Harrison's got to find another way around. Boardman's covering the inside line. Simon's trying to run around the outside. Phil Bennett, meantime, is trying to thread his way through because he is the touring car race leader. Tom Boardman probably disadvantages himself a little bit there by hoiking out of the way. Quick, smart.
Well, they're racing for the lead of this race. Of course, Bennett's having to come up through the field. And he's saying, well, all of a sudden, what are these guys doing? They don't know I'm here. I don't want to get damaged. I've got to keep out of their way.
Now, all he's got to do, Phil Bennett,
Right, he's gonna win.
is win this race, as you can hear, and he reckons he is because that's his last corner, and of course he is. Great stuff.
And a great response to the fine performance from Priu 2 weekends ago.
And look at the body language of that car. Swerves into the pit wall. Convincing win as well. Ivan Muller in second place. Valuable points for him. Jason Plato in third. And James Thompson bringing up fourth place. Well, he might have souvenired the qualifying sheet, but there's a results sheet that Phil Bennett will want to take home and frame as well. He won that race. Ivan Muller, second position, closing the gap on Plato by 2 points. And look at that. Tom Boardman, his first podium position.
To be quite honest with you, it hasn't really sunk in, because I'm a bit overwhelmed, I made a little mistake when I was driving out there. I got held up a little bit with the traffic, but in the end, fortunately, I built up quite a good lead at the start. And with Ivan and Jason fighting, it helped me a bit. So, yeah, job done. Happy days.
Happy days indeed. First win for the BTCC new boy. Muller pleased too, finishing ahead of his championship rival Jason Plato. Phil Bennett again on pole for the feature race. Now for a race start, and Muller was as close as you can be. Great stuff. Plato on the right, Bennett on the left, James Thompson to the far right, Soper to the far left. Now, how's it going to sort itself out? Round the first corner fine, on board with Tommy Erdos. Contact, that's Soper and Thompson. Now, Soper's off to the infield. Everyone else still running, that's great. Someone else has taken to the sand dunes. That's Andy Templeton in the Peugeot 306. Now, here's a view from Tommy Erdos. Let's have a look again.
Well, Erdos in the middle. Thompson comes from left to right, tags the back of the Peugeot. Soper goes sideways, almost into the pit, then exits back on track. And suddenly we've got Dan Eaves ahead of Erdos.
Great opportunistic stuff. Talking about opportunistic stuff, that's Plato having a look down the inside there. Phil Bennett, cars off everywhere into the gravel just on the right-hander. Now look, Bennett has lost places hand over fist. He's in P4. Nightmare. Now they're ahead of us. That's Ivan Muller getting a little bit of a squeeze there from Jason Plato. On board with James Thompson. Abbey corner, very tight right-hander. How are we all going to get around here? It looks like we're three abreast. Jason Plato just in front of us. Muller ahead. Boy, oh boy. Bennett back in fourth. Dan Eaves up into fifth. Then the MGs.
Now we've got the safety car right, so whatever the reason, it can't be for Cullen. Ah, that's what it is.
And that's big contact indeed. That's Matt Jackson's Focus. That's Roger Mohan's Peugeot. Now let's try to piece this together. On board with Gavin Piper. Let's look ahead. Now that was O'Neill and Graves.
Well, O'Neill hits Graves. Graves comes straight across the front of Piper. We don't know what happens after that.
Let's have another look. There's Graves. There's O'Neill.
Yeah, O'Neill right on the grass. Hits Graves in the side.
And that must have been the start of some big chain reaction. Now let's have another look. Graves and O'Neill again. On board with Roger Mohan. Soper goes through. Okay, we've seen that first bit of contact. Bang! It was not an ideal restart. Now Muller coming under some monster attack from Jason Plato. Looks down the inside, puffs of smoke all around. Everyone tried. No, he's lost it. Little bit of momentum as Muller. Plato's along side by side. This is the drag downhill towards Abbey again. Side by side, Plato on the outside. Muller moves him wide this time.
Payback for Muller. He got pushed off in the first lap. The other way around now, but what good racing.
Yeah, scattered Vauxhalls all over the place, very close. Bill Bennett thinks that looks pretty good fun, just leans on Muller on the outside, cuts across as he picked up the position again. Plenty of contact. They're driving rough and tough, these Vauxhall boys. Lucky there are 4 at the start.
Well, the main thing is, of course, is the battle for the lead of the championship. Muller and Plato. And what's going on? Vauxhalls taking Vauxhalls off left, right and centre.
Well, that was more contact, I think, Plato and Thompson that time. And Jason Plato, near as I can figure it a minute ago, was near the front end of this. Now he's at the back. Now he's picked up a spot again. James Thompson has lost it. So Muller, Bennett is working his way back up into the field. Is in P2 and on a charge. Dan Eves is in amongst this somewhere as well. Very closely in touch. Nice performance there from the Peugeot. Oh, there's some contact between the MGs. Don't take each other out, boys. You're trying to get that.
Well, Anthony Reid's certainly not happy running behind his teammate. But Anthony, you know, you've been around a long time. Here we come up into Priory Corner. Reid puts his car inside. Well, he was far enough forward. You know, in these situations, you've got to decide, am I going to shut the door and have damage, or possibly allow my teammate through?
Now, here's a story in itself. Tom Boardman leading this race for production, and he's just galloped off into the lead. Now, here's another MG story. Hughes, he hasn't had a pit stop yet, but he is leading the race. And MG is leading a race of the British Touring Car Championship for the first time.
And it's also, I think, the first time that Warren Hughes has also led, for which he will get a valuable single point.
Now, here's where the real race is right now, between the 3 Vauxhalls, who have all pitted. Here's Tom Boardman leading in production. Now, this is a really big fight for P2 in production. It's Harrison down the inside, Kay on the outside. Harrison in the orange Peugeot. Just can't find room. Kay holds him off.
And again, good racing between these 2 experienced drivers. There could have been contact, but they are kept apart.
Now, how are they going to keep apart here? Side by side, Harrison back through again. Cracking stuff. Got to hold it in tight. Kay does the switch back. Late turn in. Oh, contact. Jam and blast, says Simon Harrison. Pushed wide, Kay through. How do you call it? Oh, no. Tom Boardman. This isn't time to check the oil, Tom. Bonnet coming up. I don't know what that's about. And smoke as well. I don't know if that's engine smoke or body damage.
Well, it looks like smoke from the tyre touching the bodywork, but there's no damage on the car. So one can only assume that's an engine problem. Great drive from Boardman, but what disappointment for the young man and his family-run team.
Now, I reckon Jason Plato is starting to make a little bit of an inroad into Van Muller. As we see James Kay just coming past the staggering Tom Boardman. That will hurt a lot. I reckon Muller is starting to be reeled in a little bit here by Jason Plato. We were talking about this between the races, whether or not he saved a bit in those tyres, and now he's got, you know, enough laps in there for one last push.
Plato certainly cut the lead down. You can see it's halved in the space. Well, what is it, a few laps? And Plato now putting Muller under real pressure.
Yeah, a bit of a wobble there for Muller after bridge. Left-hander. This is his opportunity. Contact, though. Plato's through. Contact with Muller and Plato. Last lap. Muller's wounded as he stopped. Still running. Jason Plato's very much still running.
Yeah, but a heavy damage on that right front, the bumper and the front guard. Look, there you can see, those are the marks of Muller's car.
Well, Jason Plato is rounding and taking the checkered flag.
Well done, guys. Great race.
Controversial win, James Thompson there in the second Vauxhall. He's come through into P2. Now, what can Muller do? Well, Muller is still running. Flying on a wing and a prayer. And Tom Boardman, terrible, terrible stuff, has not made it, but covered himself in glory on the day. Muller has limped across the line and got out of the car.
Well, you see him walking away, but the left front suspension heavily damaged. In fact, no steering control whatsoever.
Just give him a couple of minutes, guys.
Oh, really? I reckon it'll take more than a couple of minutes. It's taking longer than that for the smoke to clear from his car. There are the results. Plato, Thompson, Muller in third, then Eves in fourth. Hughes will be pleased with that in fifth position. Tommy Erdos, top six for him, then Reed and Steve Soper. Production boys, James Kay wins for production, then Harrison and O'Neill.
The last few laps he was really under pressure and struggling on the brakes, and then he just made a mistake at bridge, and that was my chance.
I think I lost too many races this year for stupid thing. I was very happy with the car all race. I was looking after my tire the 3 last lap, and unfortunately I had a small engine cut in bridge, and when the engine came back, I had a big shunt. So that's it. Anyone can watch TV and judge himself.
And as a beautiful day turned into evening, the stewards met for hours to consider that Plato-Muller incident.
Right, what they've said is they feel, albeit I don't agree, they feel an unfair advantage was gained, even though Ivan had a misfire and an engine problem when he slowed dramatically at Bridge Corner, even though I was down the inside, and even though he could have given me a bit of room. They still feel an unfair advantage was gained, and they've issued a 30-second penalty. As a professional driver, I have to take everything into account, and as much as I want to appeal, I don't think I'm going to gain anything by it, so I'll take it on the chin.
So James Thompson wins. Plato is relegated to third, and Ivan Muller closes the points gap to only 5 in a weekend eventful for the touring car men and the production drivers alike. So still really close in the championship duel, and with obviously no love lost between the two main contenders, everyone was holding their breath to see just how the drama would unfold the next time the two drivers renewed their battle in the sprint race. Lights are red, ready for a start, green, and we're away. Plato on the left, Muller in the centre. Oh, start out as you mean to continue. Jason Plato gives Muller a tap, but Muller is through. Coming into Redgate for the first time, a bit of a touch from behind as well. Phil Bennett, great start from him. And James Thompson, who was doing well, he's been turned around. I think that was contact with Soper. He's still running. So now, side by side, down the Cranius for the first time, and Bennett leads. Side by side with Muller, as we see the production boys just taking off as well. Muller fights back. Bennett having another look down the inside, and he's through. Plato says, I'll go with you. Side by side, Muller, Plato. Bennett just ahead of them. Up towards Redgate for the first time. Watch for those two red Vauxhalls, side by side. Muller on the right, Plato on the left. Bits of wing mirror flying around there. Plato lunges up the inside into McLean's. There's the view from Ivan Muller's car. Plato all over us. What can we do? Turn into Coppice. 2 wheels in the air, close as you like.
Well, certainly exciting stuff on the opening lap. Plato got it wrong at the start, recovered now back up into second place. And there is real attitude out there in the racetrack between Muller and Plato.
Well, here's Muller having another fight back down into the chicane. Plato just cuts across. Muller tries to switch back. Clubs the floppies. The markers on the apex to the corner. Those Peugeots as well having a ding-dong battle. Soper and Eves. Look at them, a horde of them heading down into the Melbourne Loop. That's the view from Muller's car ahead of us. Oops, terribly sorry. Muller just taps the back of Plato's car. Plato runs deep. Muller moves up the inside. Has he taken the spot? Yes, he has. The headbutt paid off. Up into Goddard's corner. Bennett leads. To the right-hand side of your screen, 2 red Vauxhalls. And look at that, Plato shoveling Muller from behind. Muller gets pushed deep. Side by side again. Now they're on the grass. Muller's on the grass. Plato's alongside him. Banging panels, touching panels. Oh, big hip and shoulder there from Jason Plato. And has Muller got it? Has Plato got it? No, Eves has got it. Eves has lunged through. The two of them have held each other up, and Dan Eves, great bit of opportunism.
Certainly was. Eves saw what was going on with the 2 Vauxhalls, but I guarantee you one thing, Plato will not be looking for telemetry to say, I was innocent. That time, Jason, well, again, guilty. That's my verdict.
And he's off. What? Look. Eves has just been tagged by Plato down into the old hairpin, really fast part of the circuit. He's fine, just backed off into the gravel trap. Now here's the view from Plato's car.
Dan Eaves leads as they come through Craner curves on the brakes. Then Plato uses the Peugeot to slow his Vauxhall down. Eaves goes off big time and out of the race.
Very busy now. Here's the Eaves view of how he nicked that place. A little bit of touch on both of those Vauxhalls.
A bit like playing a game of billiards, off one, off the other, into the lead of that group of cars. But watch what happens as they come through the Craner curves, through the right, down through the left. Eaves coming, and then all of a sudden, bang in the back, and it's signs everywhere, and Eaves is out of the race.
Well, he might have got the 2 points for the cannon, mate, but he's certainly got the 3 for in off. Eaves parked at the bottom of the old hairpin. His race over, but his teammate is really very much in this. Look at that, Steve Soper in the other battle-scarred Peugeot doing battle with the back of Muller's into Copper's corner. Just feeding the power on. Great lead for Bennett.
Well, Bennett's up and gone. Of course, he's carrying some weight from a success at Silverstone, but less than we've seen from the 2 other Vauxhalls.
Just a sight there of Dan Eaves, forlorn sight, as we see Graves and the Honda leading the production battle. And here's the midfield production battle. Tom Boardman in that pink Peugeot, driving down into Redgate, trying to defend, and does so very well. Now this is looking busy down into Melbourne Loop. Anthony Reid just sliding his way through there. Ferrier tries to run well with him. Yeah, I think he's got it. Just tags Hughes on the way past, though.
Yeah, Ferrier got through. When Reid went through, Ferrier followed. And, of course, Warren Hughes on the outside of the corner. No space. Loses 2 positions in one corner.
Here's a brilliant scrap going on at the same time as well. These are the lead cars, but one in production, and what a battle they're having.
But the real race is between Simon Harrison and James Kay. They're battling for the lead in the production championship. 4th and 5th on the road right now.
This is the last lap. This hare and tortoise race, I reckon the tortoises are actually going to pull this one off. Aren't enough laps left. Coming up into Goddard's for the last time. Graves first, Moen second, and then behind them Kay third, and just in the distance you can see Phil Bennett.
Been a close call, 20 seconds, that was the gap between the touring cars and the production cars. Not enough.
Well, neat as you like. Graves first, Moen second, Kay third, production 1, 2, 3. Bennett just having a lunge at the line but can't quite do it. Then Bennett first home for touring, Plato second, Muller third. Nicely done, Simon Graves. He's pretty handy in that Honda, isn't he? Moen and Kay. Great result as well for Phil Bennett. Really nice to see him bank another win. Plato and Muller, as I said, you can't say too much about the importance of those points. Great drive from Phil Bennett and a good result for Jason Plato. Simon Harrison retired his Peugeot, so his rivals Moen and Kay closed the gap in the production championship. Plato was in pole position for the feature race, with Muller alongside him. Green across the line, rolling start. Starter was happy with it. Plato on the left, Muller on the right. The other 2 Vauxhalls stalking. Now can Muller run around the outside? No, Jason's got this. Tight line. Muller tries to switch back, can't do it. Tommy Erdos running a little bit wide there. Vauxhall, 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 Vauxhall. Then Steve Soper behind us. Now, the Muller view down into the old hairpin with Jason Plato ahead of us. Very, very quick through there. Good start, though, for Jason Plato. Really made the most of his pole.
Yes, he did. It was a perfect start. He got the lead. He held the lead into Redgate, and he's maintaining it all the way around the opening lap.
That's Muller right behind Jason Plato, having a think about it. There's Muller. That's what he can see into the S's. We can't get any closer to this Vauxhall than that. Oh, dear me, that wasn't me going round in circles. That's our camera. Tommy Erdos just cutting short. He obviously hit one of those floppies on the way through and ripped our cameras. We're going to have a huge bill out of this today.
Well, we're coming to the conclusion of the 2 championships this year. A lot to be won. And those that are not going to win certainly want to mitigate their losses.
Yeah, that includes the boys filling out the petty cash forms for new camera lenses. Okay, helter-skelter into the right-hander now. Scattered all over the place. What a shuffled production pack, and so close. Now, Jackson is not going to give up gnawing on the back of that Moen car. He's still there. What a haul. Screaming down the Craner curves, one after the other. Jason Plato, meantime, is leading, but look, Bennett is starting to. Has he got past Ivan Muller? Yes, he has. Oh, lovely day at the office, dear, for Ivan Muller. He's back into P3. He does not need that.
Not at all. And I mean, you'd thought maybe within Vauxhall they might have said to Thompson and Bennett, let these other 2 team interviewers go and sort the battle of the championship out. Stay out of it. Well, Phil maybe wasn't listening.
Either that or they said, Phil, whatever you do, keep them apart. They're going to wreck themselves. Now, Muller wants to get back on terms. Side by side up there with Phil Bennett. Bennett on the right, Muller on the left, turning into Goddard's. This is a tight corner. Bennett's got the title line. Muller, meantime, has got his hands full big time. He's got James Thompson climbing all over the back of him, having just lost a place to Phil Bennett. Now he's getting a little bit sideways. Did he catch it? Didn't he catch it? James Thompson's up the inside. Muller's trying to hold the spot back. Too costly.
Yeah, give Thompson half a chance. He's going to be there. But you can see now in the camera lenses, the raid at Coppice and further down the track, McLean's is getting quite heavy.
There's Muller. He's trying to get that place back from James Thompson. And right behind Muller, it's down the inside. Just a touch on the way through. Old hairpin. Brilliant pass.
Good racing from Thompson and Muller. They went to the limit, but they gave each other room to work. But of course, Super, he's climbing all over Thompson and passes him.
He's like a stalking fox, isn't he? Just hanging around the edge. He'll get anything that's left loose. Slip straight through. Nice work from Steve Soper. James is fighting back. Up into Coppice. I think James has got the inside line. Yep, he has to give best. Great racing.
It's fantastic. We've seen the Peugeot all year improve. It's now virtually on level with the Vauxhall team.
Now, Muller down the inside of Bennett. Goddard tagged him. Bennett round, Muller through.
It was inevitable. The two of them were racing for position, but Muller needed to get ahead of Bennett. A little bit unfair, though. It was done. And that's touring car racing these days for you, folks.
And Simon Graves is off. That's exactly the same spot. Oh, dear me, sliding off sideways up into McLean's. And it ain't over yet. James Thompson is fighting back, but now Muller cuts down to the inside of Plato. Soper's pressuring. Oh, he's through. Brilliant stuff. The car's shuddering and squirming, trying to wash off the speed, and he hang it together.
Good racing from the two lead Vauxhalls. Plato could have made it hard for Muller. He decided, no, I'll let him go through. I'm going to try and get him back.
Fast and fair, lovely racing. Now, Ivan Muller's overclubbed it a bit, started to carry a little bit too much speed through there. He's just regrouped. Soper, Thompson fighting back. Muller moving to the inside. Goddard's a big, sharp left-hander coming up. And look, Plato's on the inside, just trying to slide through. Soper trying to capitalise here. Hangs it inside, gives up, he's going to pit. Oh, they're all pitting up. Soper ran into the back of him. Please form an orderly queue.
Three of the lead cars in the pit lane. Jason Plato the first to stop. There we see James Thompson, and somewhere behind us we've got Steve. Here he comes, Steve Super. So it's going to be a battle or a race for these three teams to get their cars back out. Slicks goes back on Super's car. Steve Super, 6.3 seconds. Brilliant work from Peugeot here. He's out ahead of James Thompson, which is what he needed to do badly.
Yeah, but where's Plato? Where is Jason Plato? Soper's out. As you say, Thompson's out and having another race with him, but there's no sign of it. Oh, James Thompson takes an angle grinder to the side of that Peugeot. Bits of bodywork flying all over the place.
Plato's still stuck on the pits. One of the wheels will not come off, and he's gone from leading this race to now, well, there he is, just coming down the hill.
Okay, he's had a big problem, and that's a nuisance, to say the least. Really playing into Ivan Muller's hands. Now, Matt Jackson leading production. Down into the old hairpin, turns in tight. Ahead of us, that's John B&Q. Oh, dear me. Nowhere to go.
Well, what was that all about? I mean, John B&Q was driving slowly around the exit of the old hairpin. Matt Jackson on a charge, has to back off. The back end steps out, tags the back of the Honda, and that's it.
Well, there's Ferrier, still leading this race in the Alpha, which is brilliant to see. Medic's down there to have a look at him. I trust he's okay. Well, safety car is out again while they attend to John B&Q. Across the line for the restart. And the Alpha is leading across the line. Ivan Muller is right up its exhaust pipe, and James Thompson wants to follow suit as well. Well, 15 seconds of fame for Tom Ferrier because Muller is now straight through. Ferrier in second. Thompson now starting to challenge as well. There goes Jason Plato. Oh, and Ferrier's pulling off. Now, on your right-hand side, there's Plato, and the MG is through. Anthony Reid slips down the inside. That's not what Jason needs. Tries to fight back.
Nice stuff.
Well, it's certainly not in the script that we see an MG overtaking the championship leaders, Vauxhall. Plato really under pressure right now.
And he's got the script back in his hands again. Get me back to the page I'm on. I get past you just here, right? Not a bit of it, says Reed. He's now trying to fight back again. Swap and swap again. Pretty experienced stuff from the pair of them.
Indeed, Reed with the V6 MG. Plato with the four-cylinder Vauxhall. Nothing to pick and choose down the straight.
Yeah, or into Redgate corner either, as Reed just sticks his nose inside. That could have ended in tears. Running a little bit wider is Anthony Reed, and I think it's actually cost him a bit of time because Bennett is moving up on the inside of him. On the inside of him, contact! Bennett nearly drives over the top of him. Reed spins. Can he hold it? Oh, forget it. Right rears off.
Steering's correct. Anthony rejoined and blaming hit me. Park the car! Park the car! Don't crash it!
I think that's perfectly clear, don't you, from the team boss to Phil Bennett. Van Muller will be smiling, flashing his headlights. He'll be very pleased with that indeed. Muller first, James Thompson second. That's even more of a spoiler. And here comes Jason Plato in P3. Roger Moen, he's about to win the production class, and in doing so, vault himself right into the title hunt in production, just ahead of his teammate Simon Harrison. Simon Harrison is going to be P2 in production, but he is still leading the production championship. Big sigh of relief for Van Muller then. James Thompson helping by coming in second ahead of Plato. Great result for Tommy Erdos, top four. And then Dan Eaves, Roger Moen and Simon Harrison, 3 Peugeots. And down to the wire indeed it will be. Jason Plato will go into that challenge just with an important lead of half a dozen points. Roger Moen really turning things on their ear. Look at that, up into second place, right behind his teammate in the title hunt. And James Kay on 198 has really got it all to do. The final race meeting and both championships were still wide open. Van Muller collected 2 points for his great qualifying, and so now he was just 4 points behind Plato. And to confuse everybody, Vauxhall had celebrated their championship success by painting the cars blue. Very tricky place to start here, Brands Hatch, as you can see just from that angle as we look at Van Muller preparing himself. It's very, very steep. Lights red, green, and they're away. Look at Jason Plato coming downhill. Muller up the inside. Plato's pulled in front of him. Has he, side by side? Yes! Plato is through into the lead. Muller in second place. Thompson in P3. And there's contact there. That's Hughes in the MG. Big sideways there. Got tagged on the way down. Nice save. Tom Boardman there in the pink Peugeot in the background. Also having a real tank slapper. And have a look at that. Dan Eaves has now split them. Van Muller needs this like a third armpit. All of a sudden, pole position down to P3, and he's trying to hang on to that championship. Eaves runs wide. Now, Muller's back again. Okay, that's one spot back, but is it? Now we're on board with James Thompson. So it's 3 Vauxhalls in a row. Eaves in behind us as we come round through clearways and onto the straight for the first time. There's Dan Eaves now, banging wheels with Tim Harvey. What a cracking start for Plato. Here's a replay of the production start. Look at Jackson just trying to mount the back of Simon Harrison's Peugeot. But in that Ford Focus, he does not give up. Watch what happens next. Down through Battergill, excuse me. Oh, room there for a small one. Slither, slither, slither. Picks up about 3 places.
This incident occurred because Sutcliffe stalled. Everybody spreads out, fans out. Jackson finds himself with nowhere to go except the barrier on the right and a car on his left.
Warren Hughes, right behind him, Tim Harvey, right behind him, Tom Ferrier, his teammate. Ferrier looking to push, and Anthony Reid stalking the 4 of them. Ferrier lunges down the inside. He's got it. Cocking a wheel up, Reed's through as well. Tim Harvey loses 2 places.
Strange move for Tim Harvey. Normally he covers every part of the racetrack, but well done for Ferrier.
A problem for Ferrier. Look straight away. Oh, he gets a clip under the ears from his teammate on the way past. And it's all over. Look how hard they're driving. Muller is actually threatening now. He's having a lunge down the inside. This is not intimidation. He is looking for a place to pass. Working so hard, they're running wide over the curbs. John B&Q takes to the trees to get out of the way. Spots of rain.
Yes, it is. You can see in some of those high cameras, rain spots. So rain is beginning to fall.
Okay, back markers as well. Wood in the Proton does not need these 2 climbing all over him, and this is a lunge. This is a chance for Muller. Muller down the inside over the curbs. You can feel it, taste it, touch it. Got to get past him. So close.
But interestingly, and to his credit, Muller could have taken Plato out, but he didn't. He's fair about this championship.
Good clean stuff, good pressure stuff. Jason Plato, headlights ablaze now. This is adventuresome. Muller around the outside. You've got to be joking. Jason just holds him off. Jason moves to the inside, Van to the left. Trying to run around the outside of Druids. You've got to be kidding there as well. Can he line him up on the slingshot? Cut back down the hill. Still really close. All over him, in fact. Jeb under brakes, a hard left. He won't look here. It's too tight. Trying to get a better run out. Really on the power now. Looking down the inside. We're going to clip left in a minute. Over the... Oh, and it's a huge off. That's Steve Soper. That is a massive accident.
That is enormous. The left front wheel's off. The front bodywork of the car's off. Super has gone, and thank goodness Steve Super steps out of the car unaided, but that is a massive shunt.
Now, on my reckoning, everybody in the touring car ranks has made a pit stop except Anthony Reid.
Well, when a driver makes a decision like that, he's going to be either a hero or a zero, because conditions are deteriorating very quickly.
Well, it might have suited them changing onto wets, but it certainly made the job of explaining all of this complicated. There goes Plato, behind him, Van Muller. Now it's Jackson right up in front there, just moving to one side in the Ford Focus. Paul O'Neill in behind there, the production cars. Remember, back in the field somewhere, but almost a lap ahead as we look at the damage to the right-hand side of Jackson's Focus there. Clubbing the barrier earlier on. Ahead of us, almost a lap ahead in the driving rain in this horrible weather on slick tyres is Anthony Reid. Now the big question is, can these two, Muller, Plato, catch him, get past? Reid just slithers through there past Jackson. Anthony Reid is our race leader. Anthony Reid is on slick tyres. It is getting wetter.
So is Matt Jackson on slick tyres, as is Moen. Some of the production cars have stopped for wet, some have stayed out, and it's playing to the advantage of Jackson at the minute.
Now here's Van Muller. Where's Plato? There's Plato, and I reckon he's easing out a gap.
Yes, you can see the gap has extended. It was under half a second now. Plato's eked that lead out, and I suspect it's all to do with Muller's wipers not working, and he's difficulty seeing where precisely to place his car.
But over Paddock Hill again. Van Muller can feel the latch tickling through his fingers, and he can feel the championship doing exactly the same. Now we're on board with Anthony Reid, and we're off track as well. And back on again, just slithering off, not being able to get grip. That was not a bad recovery.
You can see the sheen in the road as they come through Graham Hill Bend. He just aquaplaned up.
Same as this bloke. Slithering up through the sign, up towards the barrier. Ooh, that'll hurt. Big hit. Moen as well. Oh, dear me. Roger Moen just heaves it at the barrier.
Two cars, no control whatsoever, off into the barrier.
And James Kay as well. James Kay is off Paddock Hill Bend into the gravel. Oh, these championship leaders are turning into lemmings. And they've red flagged it. Kay, a championship contender. Moen, a championship contender. Both of them chuck it at the scenery. This guy now is the race winner. Unbelievably, because they've red flagged the race. That means you count back, take the positions a lap ago. So Reid is the winner. Plato is second. And importantly, Van Muller, who needed to be in front of Jason Plato, is behind him. Amazing scene. Reid, Graves second outright. Good stuff from him. Plato and Muller. James Thompson, Phil Bennett, Tim Harvey and Dan Eaves. He was right up in the thick of it there for a bit. Finishes inside the top 8. Then Sutcliffe finishes alive. Kay, Kramer and Boardman round out your top 12.
Well done, nice work.
Well done, mate. You thank Warren. He came in when you were supposed to come in. Good teamwork there. Good team.
How you stayed out there on those slicks?
Well, I mean, it's a nice short lap, and we looked at the number of laps left and the time difference between what we were doing and what the leaders were doing, and I decided to chance my arm and stay out, in front, and we just had enough of a cushion.
What happened?
I don't really know. Obviously, I think we had another coming together with Phil Bennett coming out of Druids. I was running down the hill, and the next thing I got a fairly hefty wallop on the rear quarter, and the car turned right hard into the barrier. End of race.
So Anthony Reid took MG's first victory. Muller picked up a point for the fastest lap, so to take the championship if Plato didn't retire, Muller needed to win and have one other driver between himself and Jason. And to top it all, Warren Hughes had claimed MG's first pole position for the very last race of the season.
Lights going to red there, green. Hughes away well. Now look, Plato's trying to get around the outside of Van Muller. The two blue Vauxhalls side by side. Muller's running him up the hill. There's the view from Jason's car. Now he's held him off, but in the process he's left the hole a mile wide for Phil Bennett. There, that green one, right in front of him. Well, you can't really see a thing, can you? Muller has fended off. Bennett has got through. Muller's got what he needs behind him, which is Plato, but he's got 2 cars and valuable points in front of him. Now, can he get back past? Muller tippy-toeing down the inside, surfing his way past Phil Bennett, or is he? Side by side, we're on board with Plato in P4, about to turn left. Oh, that's so close. Phil Bennett doesn't give up easily, slips sideways, still in P3 as Muller, still in P4 as Plato. Someone's taken to the rough stuff. That was Paul O'Neill trying to take a shortcut and a very muddy one across the strike. You can't even see the start-finish line. Hughes opened up a furlong's gap. Great stuff from him. Muller lunging down the inside of Bennett. Can he do it? Yes, he has. Great stuff. Oh, and a tank slapper on the way through again. This is like water skiing. In the whip, out wide. Now the ski boat, Bennett's down the inside. Muller thought that's exactly what Muller needs. Now Muller's in front. He's got a Bennett buffer behind him. Then Plato. Wet, wild stuff.
Well, tremendous pass from Muller into paddock bend. Bennett came back. Now Plato's trying to elbow his way through. Get out of the way, Bennett. I'm in this championship. You're not.
Now Hughes in trouble, I think. Muller really starting to pressure him. Trying to run around the outside. Now he's down the inside. He's taken the W. Plato's off. Unbelievable. Plato's gone straight across there. Unforced error. Keep it moving, mate. Keep it moving. Stalled. I can't believe he's got it going again.
I tell you, he's got all the luck going with him today. Most people will be in that bank, out of the race. His championship title hoops could be all over, but he's running again.
Well, you couldn't kill him with a stick, could you? Now, here, let's have another look at what happened on board with him.
Turns in, there's a river running across, he catches the curb, all of a sudden the car goes sideways, now he floors the throttle, which is what you do in front wheel drive, then lifts off, the car spins harmlessly. Oh, how close can you get to that barrier and not touch it? Jason, today you are blessed.
So much to hit, and he didn't manage to hit a bit of it. On board with Muller. Meantime, while Jason was having his pirouette, this bloke Muller did that to Warren Hughes. Just slipped down the inside, sold in the dummy, side by side. What was the outcome? Down across the start-finish line. Muller's where he wants to be. I'm sure Warren's going to have to yield. Oh, masterful stuff.
But a great drive from Warren Hughes. First time in pole position. Only his third touring car race in the MG, and he's battling for the lead.
Hughes drops a spot. Muller's thinking this is just as good as it gets for me. How many cars between me? Oh no! Don't lose concentration now. Muller's done exactly what Plato did a couple of laps ago, but luckier still, held it together. Well, I tell you what, in using the luck stakes, I call that 1-all. Oh no, that's Roger Moen. Oh, I can't believe it. I've never seen someone so keen on not winning a championship. Wanged it into the barrier in race 1, has chucked it away in race 2. I tell you what, I reckon his pit crew are going to throttle him.
Well, the HTML Peugeot team have done a stunning job this year for both drivers, but Moen, well, he's crashed in the first race, he's gone off track in the second race. What else can I say?
Talking about going off track, Waddy, look, that's one of the MGs pulling off there. Oh no, that is Warren Hughes. He's just pulled to the inside of the track. And Reed's off as well. Unbelievable.
Well, when you're racing these conditions for the first time, it's quite possible that it's just simply water gotten into some of the electrical connections. But what a disappointment for MG, winning the sprint race and both cars out in the feature race.
Just look at them as this race restarts. It's a bow wave coming off the front of Van Muller's car. Phil Bennett right behind him. Just surging down through Paddock Hill Bend, running a bit wide, hanging onto it. Just sheets of water across the track. James Thompson trying to run around the outside there of Dan Eaves. Yeah, discretion the better part of Valor. Down to bottom bend. This is tight, lots of water. That's where we saw so many people go off in race 1. Oh, look at this is the view from James Thompson's car. Up, periscope. Bang! He's run into the back of the Proton trying to get through at bottom bend. Oh, and he's falling away. I don't believe it.
Well, he clubbed Stephen Wood in the Proton big time. And the right front of that Vauxhall, well, that's the reason. I think he's broken the suspension. He's just crawling back into the pits. His afternoon's work is now finished.
Yeah, and I tell you what, the vital role he was playing for Van Muller and being a buffer between Muller and Plato, that's one more car down, one more step up the rank for Jason Plato. This gap is closing. This champ, oh look, that's one of the Hondas, that's Graves off, and he's nerfed the wall backwards going down through Paddock. hanging it together. Now, here's Muller. No, again! Ivan Muller for the second time has gone straight on.
Well, I thought this was a touring car race at Brands Hatch. It's not rallycross.
He did not lose position doing that. Hasn't done himself any favours skipping over the infield, but he is still in the lead of this race. He's still in the lead of this championship. John B&Q, this is his last touring car race. And he's found a place to moor. That's actually in a dangerous position. I wouldn't mind betting there'll be another safety car as we see a great big slither there from Plato just going down through Paddock Hill Bend. Absolutely on it, driving so hard. 2 places yet to make up. He needs to finish behind Ivan Muller to win the championship. That'll do it. He's in P4 now. 2 more to go.
And there the safety car is out. But of course, Muller, he's got to worry about Plato, and the safety car plays to Plato, not to Muller's advantage. Plato, of course, 7th on the road, but 4th in class, and those production cars ahead of him, he's going to get past in the blink of an eye.
Now, look at all the water. Hey, look over the front of Muller's car. That looked like flames. I'm not sure. Look, and there, you can see right underneath it. That's a fire.
Yes, it is. Now, I just wonder.
Oh, crikey. Plato Muller's got a fire on the front of his car. Okay, I have fire in the car. I have fire in the car.
Well, there you go. The marshals know it. He knows it.
Yeah, maybe when he went across the grass at Surtees, he did do some damage to the bottom of the car that wasn't just bodywork.
Ivan Muller is still going, but this is exquisite torture. This is just horrible. And he's pulling off what an ignominious way to end a fabulous championship hunt.
Well, I can't say any more than huge disappointment for Muller and for this championship. We wanted to see the battle to the end. Now, Plato looks like he may have it all wrapped up.
Yep, that's really shot the fox. Bennett now across the line. The race has restarted. There's Dan Eaves in second position. Jason Plato is in P3, but I guess he doesn't really care anymore because he knows he's won this championship. Even if he doesn't finish this race, job done.
It is indeed. With Muller not finishing and the championship point lead that Plato had coming into this round, he is the 2001 champion.
Yeah, but watch the bloke. He's so tenacious. He won't be resting on his laurels as he slithers down the inside of one of the Ford Focuses. There's our leader, Phil Bennett. Dan Eaves having a stormer in P2. And there's Jason Plato thundering along in third position. And here comes Ivan Muller, being dropped back into the pits. Heartbreaking stuff. There are not words for this. Still champion, mate.
Thank you. It's okay, Phil. It's okay.
It was so close. The luck is just not with us this year at all. It's so close.
The condition was amazing, and just the chicane behind. One stage I had aquaplaning, and I went a bit on the curbs, and probably that's putting an oil leak or something like that, and the fire comes step by step.
Luck hasn't really been on your side this season.
No, not really at all. But it's like this. It's part of motor racing, and we have to accept. I am very, very disappointed for the lads behind me here because they done a good job and they should be on the podium with me.
Big man.
Yes, tough situation. Both drivers really made this championship something to watch all year.
Yep, I suppose it is time to be the first to congratulate Jason Plato. He is the champion. Well done. Now, there's still a motor race to be run here, and there's still a production championship to be won as well. Now, position we've got here is that this man, Simon Harrison, all he has to do is keep it on the island and finish. James Kay, the only man who could beat him in the championship, is on the road. He's ahead of him on the road, but what Simon has to do is just keep it neat, hang it together, and the job's done. On board with Plato now. He still doesn't reckon the job's done. He's lining up Dan Eaves. That's Dan ahead of us. Coming into Paddock Hill, having a look. He's still having a race.
Yes, and what Plato's got now is that lovely rhythm a driver gets when things are working for you. Everything's just coming easy. Eaves stays to the left, Plato just goes down the inside and the right hand, no problem at all. And now he's really got Phil Bennett ahead, puts the hand up, says, thanks, mate, no sweat.
Plato want to duck down the inside into clearways. This is the last corner. Bennett looks like he's got it covered. He's not giving it away.
No, he kept the tight line into clearways, and Plato said, "Okay, Phil, you can have the race, but I'm taking the championship."
Okay, well, that sounds pretty fair to me. Everyone's a winner. Jason Plato's dad says, "Nicely done, son." Great win for Phil Bennett. Great championship win for Jason Plato.
At times I've been critical of some of his driving, but remember, Jason Plato is an outstanding race driver. He and Mutter have made a fantastic championship.
Here, here. And what a fitting end. Phil Bennett cracks it for a win. Dan Eaves makes it onto the podium. And Tom Ferrier in the top 4 as well. James Kay, 7th on the road, but Simon Harris in 10th position and the production champ.
British Touring Car Champion, 2001.
Thanks very much. Yeah, thank you. Oh, it's been a long time coming, this.
It has. It's been quite a season.
Yeah, it has. I mean, it's a shame Ivan retired, but it's a shame I lost, I got stuck on the aquaplane. So, but yeah, it's all over. I can go and have a drink now. But just thanks, to everyone that's helped me over the last 5 years. And, I have to thank Frank Williams for giving me my first opportunity. And everybody. I'm a bit lost for words at the minute.
And what a championship. Jason Plato, our 2001 champion. Ivan Muller 2nd, James Thompson 3rd, and Phil Bennett in 4th. Dan Eaves best of the rest, if you like, just ahead of Steve Soper, Tommy Erdos in the Lexus, and then Tim Harvey. And a big congratulations to Vauxhall Motorsport, clear winners.
It's been such a traumatic day, so up and down with the weather conditions. I didn't really know what the state of play was going into that race. I just knew how to go as fast as I could and not risk anything. And that was the name of the game, really. Keep an eye on James where he was. So I'm well happy to come away champion.
Congratulations to every competitor in the Production Championship. Terrific entertainment all year. Simon Harrison, James Kay, Roger Moen. That's your top 3. That's how it finished. Matt Jackson in 4th, Gareth Howe 5th. A win today for Gavin Piper, Simon Graves and Paul O'Neill. GR Motorsport, big winners outright in the Teams Championship.
If I'd submitted that as a movie script, you'd have accused me of overwriting. The British Touring Car Championship stuns and amazes right to the very end. Congratulations, of course, to Jason Plato, our winner, and also Simon Harrison, the production winner. And commiserations have to go in particular to Ivan Muller. Cruel old business motor racing. Remarkable championship, the BTCC.